4 and a 3 and a 2 and it's time to drink scotch. No.
I'd like to deal with something we.
Hey, I'm doing my opening. Yeah, you didn't know that. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talk Shit Tuesday. I'm your host, JD Kane. Today's edition is called, what the hell did I name it?
Debbie Does Flat Earth.
Debbie Does Flat Earth. So, and we have Debbie here. Hey, Debbie.
Hello.
I don't know if she gets the joke or not. She might be too young.
I thought this was about biology.
No. We have two biologists here, so biology usually gets mentioned at some point.
Oh, you trying to set me up and gang me?
Yes, Tyler, we're all here to gang up on you, just like
phrasing.
Snake pit. Okay.
Archer reference. All right. All right, now you missed what I was going to talk about. All right, so we started a little bit early here because Debbie mentioned something we had in the chat we had earlier today. It was about rockets. She wanted to know, I believe, it was something along the lines of how do rockets slow down and then land on the moon? Is like an issue with old narrative. Is that about right? Is that just a bit?
Correct. Yeah. What slows its momentum? It's you have to consider
the
speed.
We'll just leave it at that for now.
You have to consider all the rotations that are going on, and within the
Well, as I said, I said, well, the thing is, it has a thruster. It can use that to slow down. And then you said, where is the thruster? And I said, it doesn't matter. And you kind of went off on me for a little bit.
Yeah, you never showed me the diagram because I looked at their diagram. I didn't see any kind of, extra little thruster on the. You said it was on the side. Was it like a shark or something?
Again, I simply mentioned thrusters, which
I don't know what you're talking about. So I wanted you to show me visuals, and you failed to do that.
Well, as I said, my point was that it doesn't matter where the thruster is, so long as you are able to turn the vehicle.
It does matter if you can prove
fire the thruster in the opposite direction.
I know. If you show a diagram, you can prove where it is, and then maybe I'll take.
Hello.
Are we talking about the lunar lander?
Oh well, that's okay.
It's on the bottom.
Kevin actually puts the effort in. There it is. There's lunar module.
Yeah. Well, you didn't show the diagram. I've seen the diagram of the SpaceX rocket, and I looked at the temperatures, and it reaches like 2,000 to 3,000 degrees in Fahrenheit. So,
well, degrees weren't the issue. We're discussing how it slows down. To which I said, maneuvering.
I looked at the
I thought we
official
were talking
document.
about landing on the moon. What's that got to do with SpaceX?
Let's stick to one subject. Probably stick to one subject at a time. Let's not get distracted.
Debbie does have a habit of jumping around a bit.
Yeah, well, let's stick to the one particular aspect of rockets. If you've got some complaints about particulars, let's not go off onto another aspect. It's what flat earthers and other people who don't understand the subject. They like to change the subject when they get into difficulty, and that's what you're doing at the moment.
No, I've been asking him.
You know what? I did something bad here.
A diagram of the rocket.
I put Debbie and Rumpus in the same room together. This is not.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work out
this is
very
like
well.
attacking everybody. I'm not scared of y'all. Really.
So anyway, we're looking at.
There's the psychic lady.
Kevin's diagram.
When I'm going to get polio. Oh, there she is.
What in the fuck?
Yeah.
All right, Debbie, do you see what's on
Debbie, what are you talking about?
I don't know.
We are looking at Kevin's diagram of the lunar module.
All right, do you see what's on the screen, Deb?
I don't see anything. Okay, I see it. There's the diagram.
There you go, full screen.
It's incomplete though. That doesn't look like the.
Of course, it's incomplete. That's a very complicated piece of machinery. It's a simple diagram. You asked how it slows down. Descent engine. The attitude thrusters are up here.
This is a cartoon. Excuse me. The original footage of the lunar lander.
It's not a cartoon. It's a diagram.
Yeah.
Ask for a diagram of where.
I call this a typical cartoon.
Okay, so when you said diagram, you didn't mean diagram. You meant something else and just said diagram. So in other words, you don't want a functional diagram. What you want is a photograph of it, and you don't care about us. We're trying to show you where the rock is, but if we showed you a cutaway diagram, if we showed you a photograph, we wouldn't be able to show the internals of how it was working, which is what you sound as though you're interested in.
Okay,
if we show you a photograph, we can't show you how it's working, can we?
No, now we're talking about the lunar lander. That's totally something different. So let's stick to the lunar lander itself. I can deal with that.
All right. Well, Debbie, my issue is that the idea of a maneuvering thruster to me seemed rather non-controversial, but you still did not like it. I wasn't really sure why.
It does have maneuvering thrusters.
The reason why I have a problem.
Hold on a sec, Debbie. CRISPR said something. What was that?
There it goes. The curtain rods. There you go.
Can you go back to the diagram, please?
What engineer would just design something like that? It looks hideous.
Yeah, Debbie, do you see the thing?
Yeah, the company that made it is called Grumman.
I don't care what their name is.
Really,
do you see the thing? Do you see the thing labeled RCS thruster assembly?
Yeah, I see it.
That is a maneuvering thruster.
So that's what they call it. All right.
Okay, so pull up the original picture from the
big
moon.
thing on the bottom is the main engine, and you can see the RCS
right
in this picture.
Right.
There's RCS on both sides.
And what is the orange thing? These things are it's supposed to get hot on the moon. It reaches some temperature.
That's
no, it's
point.
not.
That's part of the lunar module's heat shielding.
It looks like Reynolds wrap, y'all. I mean, seriously.
There's no atmosphere.
Yeah, but it's
There's
not.
no atmosphere there. There's no atmosphere.
Hey,
Debbie,
one at a time.
A lot like those mats that you put on the floor in a gym. But that doesn't mean they're the same thing.
No engineer would design this. I mean, they themselves.
All right, everyone, quiet on the set for a second.
Debbie, are you an engineer?
Everyone be quiet for a quick second.
Yes, my uncle's an engineer. Okay.
That's not the same thing.
All right, quiet on the set.
Are you an engineer? Yes, my uncle is.
My uncle's king. Therefore, I'm king.
I know many
you are not an
engineers.
engineer if your uncle's an engineer. You're an engineer if you're an engineer.
I know many engineers that are flat earth.
Don't make me start
They would not design a piece of junk, trash
Hey, control room.
Quiet on the set. All right, Debbie. I know from our talks that you do have a tendency to keep talking when others are talking, but
I see other people talking.
Hold on,
just to prove the point. Just to prove the point, she does it.
I have to mute you there because you did keep talking while I was talking. Now we have quite a few people in here. They all want to get their voice in. Now it's difficult to stop when you want to jump in the middle of a sentence, but you just have to try some form of control to stop yourself from doing it. Otherwise, this becomes a mess. So to avoid becoming a mess. You get your turn to talk, but then when other people talk, you have to stop and let them. Even if you really, really, really want to jump in and nail them on something you think they got wrong, my suggestion is if it's really bad, take notes and get back to it when you get another turn to talk. Because you're in your room here with 9 people, and there'll probably be 10 soon. Okay? I muted you, so you have to unmute to talk again. So anyway, who was Kevin? You were going?
I don't remember what I was saying. I'm sorry.
Sure, Fiona.
Well, I'd like to raise the point, but she was saying, shouldn't it get?
Hold on, Rumpus. I did say Fiona first.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. I didn't hear that. Come on, Fiona.
Go ahead, Fiona.
Yeah, what I was going to say was, Debbie, looking at the lunar lander there, looking at the actual photograph, was saying something about the heat. Just to make the point that the lunar lander isn't the actual rocket that got them up there in the first place. It's a different, little vehicle. Just making sure that we know that point.
Right, and also I'd like to raise the point of the heat. Debbie, sorry, I've forgotten what her name is now. Raised the point that it all should get hot. No, it shouldn't. This is the only reason things get hot in rockets when they re-enter, slow down, is because they slow down particularly with the command module when it comes back to Earth. Is it has to slow down and using the atmosphere as a brake effectively. There is no atmosphere on the moon, so descending, there is no heating up of the vehicle as it descends. The only thing that slows it down is the descent rocket, and that does not.
They did still have to deal with the issue of heat on the moon because there's no insulating atmosphere and it's in direct sunlight. That's
the sunlight. That's a different issue. The sunlight.
But that's not a heat field. That's a different thing.
Exactly. So that's to do with dealing with the sunlight. So we'll try and forget the sun as an issue. She was talking about implying that she was trying to compare, I think, to the scenario of something coming back to Earth, the command module landing and getting all hot in the heat shield and everything. There's none of that required here. There is no atmosphere. The only thing required to slow it down is the descent engine, and so that there's no heating up of the rest of the vehicle due to friction. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I made the point when we were talking about maneuvering thrusters that you don't need. I mean, I believe that was an issue back when they first started. That the idea of just shooting out bodily waste, would actually change your trajectory enough that you need to compensate for it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's why they left it on the moon. Can I just say something, Debbie? If you're trying to unmute. It's on the top of the screen.
She knows. We had this issue.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Thank you. I didn't know.
Is Jade still there? Is Jade still there?
She just left.
That's a shame because Jade's dad was actually involved in building the lunar landers, was he not?
Yeah, I heard there's over almost 130 people involved, and
Fiona.
We were racing the Russians. Yeah, Jade is
Fiona.
Yeah, you're interrupting JD again, Debbie. He was in the middle.
Okay.
I'll give it a break though. Go ahead. You want to say something, Fiona?
No, Debbie.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the prototype that they built and the footage that they were trying to fly the thing. On the ground, and the thing just twirled into circles and it blew up. Okay.
Yeah, so they did tests on it before they got it right.
It's almost like there were a few iterations. Debbie, have you ever been part of a design team for any sort of aeronautical
or anything whatsoever.
That's a novel design that worked on the first prototype.
I know, mine brilliant.
Please,
I never built me, but I built
the
a
novel
model
design
before.
that succeeded on the first prototype.
I love it when my code works on the first try.
I tell you what, that is like fucking hitting a hole in one.
Yeah. Honestly,
but the thing is, when it works the first time, you know
everything on the first try. They never have any.
No, they don't. No one's arguing that.
Yeah, that's why Gus Grissom is still alive.
Have you ever heard of Apollo 1?
That ended badly. Oh boy, didn't all the astronauts die? There was an accident with pure oxygen there. I remember that from the movie.
Fire on the pad.
Yeah, all of the astronauts were saying, this pure oxygen thing, it's a really bad idea. And then guess what happened?
They had a fire started. They couldn't get out. They ended up changing the doors. It was a pretty awful on our way to get into space and then to the moon. The Russians beat us.
Magically made it. Wow.
Well, that's an interesting thing, actually. Well, what do flat earthers say about the space race in the 50s and 60s? Russians versus America. Why did we both collaborate on what I guess you would believe is some grandiose conspiratorial lie to get into a place that doesn't exist?
You talking to me?
Yes.
I've heard that before. I don't know what's going on, but the only thing that I can comment about that is that they found out they can't get rockets up. So everybody was trying it. So I don't know everybody. I know that they all, they're all in on
rockets.
They're all.
We have live footage going up where.
It raises the question: why the Russians?
I've seen Russian footage from JAX and all these other agencies, and theirs are just like
we were sending rockets into space before the Cold War. The Germans sent V2 rockets into space before that.
But I have actually a better.
Yeah, I know that exactly, and I have that photo. And guess what? It's a flat horizon. It's a flat horizon. It's like 700 miles.
Let's stick to one thing at a time, shall we?
All right. So Debbie,
here we go. Changing the subject.
Yeah, before NASA.
Stop deflecting, Debbie. Stop deflecting.
Guys, let's not try and dogpile so quick.
Go retrieve the picture.
Stop deflecting.
Promise. Give her a second. Give her a second. She'll run out of steam for a second. All right. So Debbie, I did have one point to make. You do know about the Cold War. You don't really have any serious objections to the Cold War being a thing, right?
I know about World War I and World War II. Right?
Oh, okay. Well, that's well before that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Cold War.
They had missiles. Yeah, they launched missiles.
Okay, well, all right.
Like that. No, they didn't need satellites for a missile guide, so I know that much.
Debbie,
satellites weren't even.
Debbie, you're not responding to anything I'm saying. You're responding what you think I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm very.
But you're responding what you think I'm saying, but it isn't.
Nazis.
No, that was not the Cold War.
All right.
That was not the Cold War, Debbie.
Yeah, it's not even remotely. Oh boy.
The Cold War.
What year?
All right, we'll have to explain the Cold War, Jordan. We'll just
unbelievable. Yes. How ignorant is this woman?
I'm talking about both wars.
Okay.
No, we talked about the Cold War.
The Cold War was not a war in the sense of World War I and II. It was. Go ahead. Go ahead.
During the Cold War, there was a race to the moon between the USA and Russia. The Cold War, as opposed to a hot war. A hot war is when you have guns and missiles and tanks and all the rest of it. The Cold War was after. Let me finish. The Cold War was after the Second World War. It wasn't a hot war. There weren't guns and missiles and soldiers and all the rest of it.
There were, but they weren't being fired at people.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Robbers. It was more like a political and technological race. It's to see who could achieve things quicker.
I get that. I've heard the story. This will just improve the globe.
It's just a story.
Well, I mean, several people, and myself included, lived through the Cold War. I lived through the end of it.
It was a false flag.
Oh, look, we got another flat earther in here.
I'm pretty sure Jade and Fiona, I mean, they had been through from the Revolutionary War. They definitely lived through the Cold War.
Yeah.
There's no war.
And I didn't.
So yeah, they lived through the Cold War. So they can tell you about it firsthand. It was bad, and now let me make a larger point here.
The most brilliant woman in business. She has Victoria throw fits. It took me 2
I know I'm on mute for like an hour, but
someone got the telly on.
Right. Well, anyway,
Debbie's watching something.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't believe them? They lie.
All right,
so I thought the point we were on was that the Germans had missiles going to space in 1940.
That wasn't my point. That was a previous point.
Okay.
My point is that during the Cold War, which is when the space race occurred, Russians, you've probably heard from Christian rhetoric, are atheist, horrible nightmare, Stalin, atheist ruling the world, conquering evil, et cetera, states. You've heard the rhetoric before.
Atheist murderers.
Yeah, atheists, horrible, amoral murderers. That's Russia at the time. So if you buy into that, then you'd have to explain why, versus us at the time, Christian nation, whatever you want to call it. It was Christian versus atheist and Democrat versus communist. And yet, during the space race, no side decided to take advantage and go, haha, we've shown the earth is round, versus us as Christians would happily go, hey, it's actually flat during the space race. Instead, we just kept fighting into space until at least one of us apparently got to the moon while the other one beat us to space.
Hello?
Yes.
There is no moon.
You didn't catch anything.
I think that they're all in cahoots and they're all corrupt.
All of them.
Why would an atheist regime side with?
There's no evidence for that. That's something you've made up.
There has been a debate between religion and science for a long time. There's been many books.
Well, I'm not always referring to science. I'm referring to
the flat Earth has never died. It's just been it was on hiatus.
It's been disproved. Next.
All right, Debbie, quick.
No,
we have pictures.
No, you can't bend
guys. Shh. Why on this again?
Bend water.
Debbie, the issue I brought up here, Debbie.
Governing laws of nature.
Are your inputs on? Debbie, your inputs are on. All right. I'm referring to a nation that was, for all intents and purposes, at least by Christian rhetoric, an atheist nation, Russia. Atheist-run, awful, etc. In which case, I could see they would lie about the shape of the earth. However, at the time, America was very much into Christianity, as it is today still. And so it was, in a sense, atheist versus Christian, and yet neither one decided to go, hey, haha, it's flat, haha, it's round. That was not a fight back then. You'd think it would be if the earth was flat. Instead, they continued their race to get into what they thought was space.
Information is suppressed.
It goes deeper than this. I mean, I guess you
can do your research. I'm saying, can you explain why?
It goes deeper. I mean, it's a deep rabbit hole. Of
the Illuminati. The Illuminati.
I'm saying you're claiming that there's a conspiracy, but a conspiracy between atheists and Christians?
Yes.
To hide the shape of the earth?
I don't know.
How would they do that?
They're obviously well,
you say obviously, but I got a feeling it's not going to be obvious.
Let me speak for a second. You're talking about
let her speak. She hardly gets to speak.
Excuse me. Okay, there's different types of Christianity. I don't know which one you're referring to. They all don't have the same beliefs, and when you walk into all their churches, they all do different things in there.
They have different classes.
I was grown up as a Baptist.
Most Christians aren't atheists.
Most.
Yes, most Christians. I do know a Christian atheist in this community, and he really is good at trolling people.
Beasley, who calls himself a Christian atheist, but
he doesn't count.
Beasley is a nut job, and he's a.
You can still be a Christian. You can still be a Christian or pose as a Christian, but be anti-Christ. Likeness. I mean, it's the Vatican is a perfect example. It's a false doctrine. Everybody knows it's been exposing it.
Perpetrate massacres.
I need to get drunk, really.
Yeah. I agree.
Speak the truth, Debbie. Don't let them silence you.
I mean, I'm Irish.
Troll spray.
Let's spit out my tea.
Troll extermination.
Pew, you need to turn 21. Seriously.
Wait, he's not?
Yeah, I'll work on that.
19.
That's probably why you're drinking bleach instead of liquor. All right. I mean,
yeah, that would be why.
That's exactly the poison you got.
It's illegal for you to drink booze, but it's legal to drink Clorox.
Yep, that's true. That's why.
Like that. Watch it now.
Debbie, tell them about the lizard people.
Wait, what? Debbie does not believe they're lizard people, right?
I've been looking into that. I wasn't too cryptic things a long time
ago. Tell them the truth. Don't be afraid.
There's things in the Bible that does describe things that are in the earth.
Yes.
I mean, we have a UFO issue going on.
Yes.
To me, they're just demonic entities that
just tell them the truth.
Like Jack Ballet explains.
Debbie, tell them about the researchers that have been
I can put a biblical
this
perspective on it, but they would have to go through a long I would have to ramble.
You think they're all fallen angels? And like like the Enoch kind of stuff, like Nephilim and all that jazz?
I'm not sure. I can't confirm that. I can only
tell them about the research, Debbie.
Tell them about the anal probes,
sir. I don't know about that. I mean, I just think that they were. I think these are demons or something like that. Some entities. I don't know if they're biological. I don't know. I can't confirm it.
They could be made out of rocks.
I do believe that our government.
God, Fiona.
I do believe our government communes with them. There's a lot of high strangeness in certain areas. There's ley lines. I don't know if you guys looked into that.
Yes, they're magical lines that intersect all over the world. That have supernatural entities.
Is it, do you mean demons like the one that's on the sofa beside me?
Demons as
kitty cat.
Demons to me is they're known as disembodied spirits. They are a product of the hybrids that were once roamed the earth. There's proof of that. Large skulls. In Peru.
Yeah, and the Smithsonian's covering it up, just like that one satirical website says so.
Yeah. They
You're
don't
just
want you
making
to.
stuff up,
They don't
Debbie.
want
This
you
is
to know we have a
complete
creator.
fiction.
They don't want you
You're
to
just
know
making
that you have
stuff
a
up.
creator and that you're important. All of you are important.
We're all important.
Talk about the
Hold on, just a second. Technical issue.
We're very safe and enclosed system.
Do you believe in fairies?
Nothing getting out. There's no rockets getting out. There's no meters.
JD, we've had a request from the chat that you turn up Debbie's volume in control room. Because they can't
That would
hear
probably be helpful, yes.
Do. All right, Debbie, volume.
Debbie, don't let them. Don't let them mock you. Don't be afraid to express the truth.
Damn it.
Is that better, folks?
Jade, you are super quiet.
Could anybody hear Jade?
I think Jade wants to talk, people.
Yeah, Jade's
Jade
really
would like
quiet.
to talk.
Hang on a minute. Let me.
Well, this is a circus, isn't it?
Jade is super quiet.
Yes, this is comical,
always a
I have to
circus.
say.
I know. This is fun.
This isn't really the hangout where we have like debates about stuff. It's just talking shit, but whatever.
Yeah.
The truth will not be suppressed.
Thanks.
I hope everybody realises that I've now got beef flavoured hair.
This squeaky voice is like making my ears bleed, though.
Does Debbie have any evidence, any argument for a flat Earth, any argument whatsoever?
Yes, you will realize the truth.
Shut up long enough for me to figure out if you can hear me.
What a
nasty.
You're crackly, Jade.
We can now, but you're super staticky, Jade.
You're crackly, yeah.
Volume is low. Turn your volume up.
We can barely hear you, Jade, and you're super crackly.
All right, we need to start a GoFundMe for Jade to get a
new potato. Who this?
Ah, God, what was that?
Jade, you're killing us.
It's my connection.
Okay, the hangout audio is dying. What the fuck?
Debbie, tell them about the research. Dr. Sephiroth and Dr. Cloud have been doing materia research forever. They can prove all that we believe.
Excuse me, I have to go fill my pee bottle in honor of Fifth Bottle Project here. Be right back.
Tell them about the research.
Wake the sheep.
1 second.
Tell them about the Genova Project.
She's looking it up.
Take your time, child. Give them the truth.
Sorry, I've lost track completely. What was happening? I obviously didn't get through the
I don't
know. I don't know. Are you talking about aircraft pollution? I mean, what are you talking about?
Yes, everything is interconnected. The Genova Project, Dr. Cloud, Dr. Sephiroth, all of it.
I just go by observations I've been documenting for about 3 years now. Yeah.
Yes.
Have
you observed sunsets? Have you observed the sunset?
Yeah, in the morning I see them.
Oh, there we go. There you are. Proof of a spherical Earth that invalidates a flat Earth straight away.
I call 911 that they're just polluting the skies over my, my
Have
head.
you seen the sunset? What do you think of sunsets? Do you not see that sunsets invalidate the flat Earth just like that?
Sir, you don't even know what the sun is.
I do. You know exactly what it is.
There we go.
I'm sorry. I do apologize.
All right, quiet on set for a second.
Do not laugh. That is the truth.
I see that the sun has changed position as it rises because I use a reference point. I use a tree. I got tree obstruction. Observation is not that.
All right, quiet on the set for a sec. Jade has had to leave because, as funny as Piss Bottle is, it is apparently hurting her ears. So whoever happens to be playing Piss Bottle,
Come it under your real account.
You're gonna have to cut it out. As funny as it is. Okay, so first I need to help out Debbie. Debbie, you have been muted, so you will have to go and unmute yourself with the little thingy up in the whatever.
At the top.
Okay. Well, who's muting me?
I muted you because I need.
Thanks.
Yes, well, I need a chance to explain something, and you were not stopping.
You don't stop, do you, Debbie?
Yeah.
That
can be
I have a lot to say. I could have a lot to say.
Yeah, but you still take
15
turns,
minutes.
Debbie. You still take turns.
I have to point out, hangouts are not necessarily going to be the same as whatever
If you're
platform
asking me a
used
question, let me make a statement. That's only fair. You asked me on this panel, so it's respectful to let me speak.
Explain
If
sunrises.
you don't have to buy into my bullshit, whatever I'm spewing out.
Explain
So,
sunrises.
Well, I mean, it's good you admit it.
You guys aren't answering my questions.
Okay, ask me a question.
I'm trying to answer to the best of my
about
ability
flat
of what
Earth,
I
then.
do
Ask me a
know.
question about flat Earth.
What I don't know, I'm just not going to just pull shit out of my ass. Or what I don't
Can
know.
I ask a
I'll just tell you I
question,
don't know.
please?
Ask
Is it a
another flat
question?
earther.
All right, well,
Let's just go back to what you actually said. You said we don't know what the sun is.
Yeah, you've never been to the sun to confirm the light source of what it actually is and how it's emitting its light, things like that. Nobody has.
Yes.
Can I
I've
just point
definitely
something
never been
out
to the
here?
sun.
Yeah. Can I just
to find out how it's moving.
It's not
You'll
moving.
never
Can I just point something out? May I just point something out here? The sun is a star.
It is not.
Excuse me. I was
Just to kind of piggyback.
You've never seen a real star then before, lady. You've never seen a real star.
Do you believe in China, Debbie?
Hold on
Debbie,
for a
do you
second.
believe in
Hold
China?
on for a second. Hold on, folks. Okay,
You call it a star.
just
I
said.
call it a celestial body.
Okay, that's
There's
fine.
two
Okay.
celestial bodies that
Okay,
that
Debbie,
emit light.
Debbie,
to
Bueller,
the earth.
Bueller. Okay, you
Bueller.
just said that she can't know what the sun is because she's never been there. Did you not just say that you called to complain about the chemtrails above your house? So did you go up there and touch or taste the chemtrail?
I was trying to tell you about my research and what I found out.
Did
No,
you
I
go-
can't
okay,
confirm what's.
Okay, so you don't. So
No,
you've never been up there and licked the
But
chemtrail.
you cannot. You can't identify the aircraft though. That's the thing. You can,
Okay,
you
well,
can
if
identify the
it's
aircraft.
it
No, you
could have been a
can't.
transformer for all I care. I didn't ask about the
transformer.
aircraft.
Okay,
a
so how
a transformer
about
like
when
a
the
robot in
clouds-
disguise.
What about when the artificial clouds spread out and the whole sky is just
Okay,
that's
that's fine.
milky
I will.
white.
I will.
Alright, guys.
Subject, Debbie, you're
Have
deflecting.
you been
can't-
up there? Can you
Debbie,
meet your
hold on,
own burden
Greg.
of proof?
One sec, Drag. Debbie, I'm going to have to mute you again because you've got to stop with the one point you made and let the other person respond to that point. If you keep going with 3 or 4 other points, then no one understands what's going on. There's just a bunch of talking over. Now, again, Debbie, you're muted. You will have to go up to the little thingy in the whatever and click that. I know I'm doing Buffy speak today, but
Okay.
find the thing on your phone and find. There you go. Now, I know, unlike our conversations, it's going to have to be a bit more your turn than someone else's turn. Even if they're annoying the crap out of you and you're annoyed, you just got to buckle down.
I'm laughing at all y'all.
Oh, don't worry, it's mutual.
Just mute yourself. You can actually mute yourself, by the way, and then let the person get their words in. So go ahead, Drag.
I would never mute myself. That means I can't spew bullshit. Okay, so the thing is, you have this really incredible burden of proof that you want other people to fulfill, but you've also created one for yourself that you admit that you can't fulfill. So why explain the logic behind that to me? One sec. Just explain it to me. You can unmute yourself now. You may speak. It's
While she's struggling to do that, I'd like to make another point. Does she believe in the existence of China?
Let her talk. Hold on.
What proof?
Rumpus.
This is a controlled, panel.
Debbie, do you believe in the existence?
Hold on, Rumpus. She's supposed to be answering Drag.
Well,
Give her a sec. Let her breathe.
Rumpus.
Yeah,
Am
Rumpus.
I on?
Debbie, did you get Drag's?
Yes. Am I on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you asked me a question. What's the logic in what? Everybody's like talking.
Drag. Go ahead.
Okay. You've created an incredible burden for yourself.
Oh no, I didn't.
With the example of Fiona having to go to the sun to prove what it is, and when I pointed out that you have never gone up and tasted or touched a chemtrail,
exactly,
you agreed that you can't do that. So why did you create such a high burden for yourself and for other people? What's the use in that?
What is the burden when thousands and thousands of people globally are witnessing what the same thing that I am? Grid patterns and all kinds of things. Are you telling me it's a figment of my imagination? It's illogical for fleets of aircraft to make X's and stuff over churches and things?
Yes.
Oh,
what?
So
was that your answer?
Yeah, I don't understand the point.
You're okay, Q?
Let me, if I can have a go, I'd like to have a go, make it easier. You've questioned Fiona's analysis of what the sun is because she hasn't been there. Have you been to China? And if not, how do you know that China exists?
How do I know that China exists? No, I've never been there. I can only look at a map or look at a hideous ball and find it. I mean, what?
Right. So, do you believe China exists? But do you believe China exists?
Yeah. I spoke
Great.
to people from,
So the evidence is that China exists, therefore you believe it, because there's lots of independent evidence coming at you that China exists. Similarly with the sun, we've got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of various independent pieces of evidence of what it is, how far it is away, how hold on, let me finish. And what makes up what its constituent parts are, how it moves. We've got tons. You could go to a library full of evidence of what the sun is. So there we are. So that's why we believe we know what the sun is, and we don't just base it on our feeling.
Oh, you're taking information from somebody else. That's another man's word. You have to take it.
You're taking China. Hold on, you didn't say with China.
What does China have to do with the sun? Other than the sun rotates around the earth. What does it have to do with the China?
Hold on, Debbie. There's a principle.
These are about things we can prove to ourselves.
Yes, hold on. Hold on, Debbie. You didn't understand the principle that Drag was trying to make, which is how can you prove things without them going?
I can't prove anything with the sun. That's why I said earlier to ask another flat earther who spends their day.
Hold on, Debbie. You don't understand the point. You don't understand the point. Drag was making the point that why do you feel we have to go to the sun to understand what the sun is? And then I'm making the similar point is
because I hear everybody
hold on, let me finish the point. And I was trying to make the same point when you can't believe that China exists or anything about China unless you've been there. And that's obviously a very stupid argument you're making.
No, it's not. It's a celestial body. You've never been there, sir.
You haven't been to China. You haven't been.
You've never been to China. That's the point.
So.
Wait, hold on for a second.
Let me just finish.
Fucking done.
I'm saying you can't say anything about China without having been there because you say you don't know anything about anything unless you've been to the thing you're talking about.
I can talk to thousands of people confirm that they live there. I can look at their GPS or whatever.
You can also talk to thousands of people that have worked for NASA and on the Apollo program.
Wait a minute. GPS. That would be the global positioning satellites that orbit the round Earth.
That's what you believe. It's not what I believe. You stick.
Okay, then what are GPS satellites? How's that work?
Until you produce an image of a satellite, we don't have not one.
You just said you would use GPS to just say that China exists.
Lady.
Do you know how does GPS work? No, it's not.
Yes, they do. They try. Yes, they do. In order to get a position on somebody, it goes from tower to tower until it pinpoints your location, aka.
That's how cell phones work. That's how cell phone trilateration works. That's not GPS. It's different.
Yeah, we had communications for a long time before satellites were. We had radar. We had Morse code. We had telegraph. We had a lot of different things.
But we didn't have GPS.
But here's the question.
How would you launch a missile? It needed missile guidance to launch a missile back in, let's just say the World War II.
But here's the question, Debbie.
All those planes that were flying, they did not need any kind of GPS positioning.
And they weren't very accurate.
Debbie, if you are saying that I haven't been to the sun, so I cannot know anything about the sun, then the point is you haven't been to China. How do you know it exists?
I just explained to you that I don't deal with the sun other than I can prove that it's 93 million miles away.
You're missing
the
prove
analogy. It then. Prove it.
You're missing the analogy.
The prescriptional rays prove it.
You are missing the analogy. You are missing the analogy. You are missing the analogy. The point is, if you cannot know anything about the sun unless you've been there, then how can you claim to know anything about China because you haven't been there?
I'm not trying to prove what the sun is or what it ain't. I'm telling you that that doesn't prove that we live on a globe.
That's not the point.
You have a different criteria for knowledge when it comes to different things.
All this goes together, goes with the ball.
Right, Remember, hold on, Debbie, gonna mute you for a sec. Remember the thing I said about talking over people? Dragnon was in the middle of a sentence. So I have you muted for a sec. Feel free to unmute after he's done. Let's try. This is obviously everyone wants to take a shot at the flat earther. I'm trying to hold them at bay, but you got to work with me here. Go ahead, Drag.
Okay, so the issue here that I think literally everyone else, and there's over 100-something people watching now, you have a different criteria than what you say 5 seconds ago. It could be China, it could be the sun, it could be my fucking asshole. If you've never been there, then you don't know anything about it. That's one claim that you have. Is that not one claim? Yes or no?
I don't know what the sun exactly is.
Okay, that's not my fucking question. That's not my fucking question. Listen to what I'm saying.
I just said yes.
Listen to what I'm saying. Okay, just respond to what I'm saying.
I don't know what's inside.
He's not talking about the sun, Debbie. He's talking about the principle of knowledge.
Listen to what I'm saying.
I'm going by observations.
Listen. Okay, then observe the words that are coming out of my mouth right now.
Hold on. All right, Debbie, I had to mute you again because you didn't answer his question. You're Okay, yeah, we can hear you. However, Dragnot was talking and
I'm trying to answer his question.
In the middle of my fucking sentence.
Yes, you gotta wait till
you have to repeat your questions. You're repeating yourself.
Well, evidently I do, because you're not answering the shit. You're not even getting close. What? Okay. Here I can show. No. Here I can show you. I can, Debbie. What was the last example that I gave you that you had no knowledge of?
You're saying that if I can't confirm, where Japan
what location?
China is.
What? No.
Let her finish, Drake. She's getting it right. She's understanding. She's understanding. Let her finish.
You're all over the place with your question.
Fiona's gonna die.
You know that you can drive go in an airplane and you can travel to another country to confirm it's there. I'm saying the sun. We're just looking at observations and that's it. You can't prove anything with the sun other than
Do you know, Debbie? Do you know that you can see the sun? We can actually see the sun. You can't see China. We can actually see the sun. If you go out, you can actually see the sun, but you haven't seen China.
If somebody told me China didn't exist, I would have to go out and prove it to myself and ride in an aircraft and land there and see a sign that says China.
You can do the same thing by going to Cape Canaveral or Vandenberg and seeing them launch rockets into space, which some of us have done.
I believe that rockets are going to space. By all means, believe that, but I don't buy into it. I look at NASA's logo; it has a snake's tongue on it. I mean,
what is that? Wait, hold on. Wait, you look at NASA. Okay, so there's a problem with the NASA logo because you see a snake. I see a dildo. What does that have to do with what they do with rockets?
That's your perception.
Okay, so it's a homo sex conspiracy, Dragnot.
What does that have to do with their ability to launch rockets?
You have to prove they're getting to space. Multiple cameras
all
around.
What does the logo have to do with their ability to launch fucking rocket into fucking space?
It goes back to the Bible of the serpent in the garden.
It goes back to the Bible now. Cool. Does it go back to fucking fairies flying out of my ass?
And NASA means to deceive in Hebrew.
And it means deceive. Do they deceive the mathematics that goes into the engineering?
You got duped.
I got duped into what? Do they use my shit rocket fuel too?
You got duped by fairy tales, dude.
I got duped by. Oh, really? Really?
So must be all that acid I took.
I'm really curious about this. Okay, so let's talk about. I know a little bit about rockets, just a little bit now.
Okay.
When the supposed rocket is in supposed space, what do they use as an oxidizing agent aboard the rocket?
She doesn't know what that is. She has no idea what that is.
I don't get into the rocketry thing.
You don't get into that.
No, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay, but they've deceived people with shit, but you don't know. But
my head hurts.
What's my opinion? It's lack of evidence. It's the lack of evidence. It's the lack of evidence.
It's a lack of evidence. It's a lack of evidence.
Very sure about your knowledge of rockets and the fact they couldn't slow down the lunar lander onto the moon. You were that knowledgeable about rockets. Now you won't talk about the principle.
It's the lack of evidence. I'm not saying that. I'm seeing anomalies in their footage and everything. None of the cameras available. Multi-stage platform.
Have you actually
the multi-stage event?
Okay, so have you actually gone to any rocket launch?
No.
Okay, so wait, hold on for a second. Did you not just tell us your criteria for what you need to know is that you have to have this personal experience? Did you not just say that?
Are you there, Pew? You've seen a rocket launch with Red, haven't you?
Not with him, but I live in the state. And I have seen several rocket launches, and they happen.
I look very careful at their footage when they're launching. I see the telemetry.
I didn't ask you about footage.
Altitude.
I didn't ask you about that. I said, have you gone physically to a launch?
They're not going up, though, sir. They're not going up. They're going into a sideways trajectory, and then it starts to nosedive, and then they switch the cameras.
Okay. Oh, they switch the camera. Okay.
You need to either clean your glasses.
That's real hard to do when you're looking at it through a telescope. By the way,
you need to get a pair of glasses.
Okay, I got them on my fucking face right here. Actually, thank you.
Smart glasses. Okay, these are smart glasses.
I need smart glasses. Is that part of the smart rockets now?
Debbie, do you know how an orbit works?
I feel your pain right now. My head hurts.
Some bifocals or something.
I need bifocals. Oh.
So when you try to get into orbit, you have to go really, really fast. All right?
Exactly.
And you go fast by going sideways, not up. Okay?
I know why they go sideways.
Going up gets you higher. Going sideways
they
makes
never
you go faster.
Up, though. They never go straight up. They always go sideways because they're crashing in the ocean.
First.
Everybody knows this.
No, Debbie.
No,
Hold on. What did I just say?
The parabolic trajectory that they do. I've got like a lot of pictures of it. You're not going to convince me they're going up anywhere.
To get into an orbit, you have to go really fast. Okay? To go fast, you have to go sideways.
No, hold on.
Horizontal velocity is how you go fast.
Well, so hold on, Crispa.
Yeah, but you don't start nosediving, towards the
Hold on. The reason they go horizontally is because to go into orbit, you have to have a horizontal velocity. Hold on, Debbie.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Well, you didn't quite say.
No, I literally just said that.
Why are they?
Okay, well, the point is...
Why is there missing time in their footage, though? Why is there missing time and they switch to simulation?
Okay, now we're on another argument. As soon as somebody addresses one thing, you change the subject.
Debbie, do you understand that to be in orbit, you need to have a very fast horizontal velocity? Horizontal,
yes, sir, I do.
You do understand that, right? So why are you surprised? So hold on. Got a question. I've got a punchline here, Debbie. If you understand that you need a very large horizontal velocity, why are you surprised rockets go sideways? In other words, not vertical, because they have to do that to get the horizontal velocity to the level of being in orbit.
And they're also wasting a lot of propellant. They're not circling around the globe, though. They don't have enough propellant. A Navy.
Hold on. No, let's say you're deflecting. So hold on, Debbie. You said, Debbie, hold on, Debbie. You're interested in a new subject. Interesting in a new subject, Debbie. You said you were surprised them going. You seem to be surprised at the angle of the launch of a rocket. They have to go sideways. You were saying they weren't going up; they were going sideways. And I've just explained. Hold on, Debbie. I haven't finished. Debbie, I haven't finished. And Crispa and I are making the point that to go into orbit, you have to go horizontally very fast. So that means you have to point in a sort of sideways direction if you're looking up. So do you understand that's why they have to do that?
Yeah, I understand that. How fast are they going when they're going sideways?
Right. So you do understand then that they have to go sideways.
Fast? Sir, how fast?
Final velocity is what?
17,000 miles an hour. But do you? So you do now accept. So you now understand why. So hold on, Debbie. You now understand why rockets go sideways now, don't you?
Wow, you just said it, sir. 17,000 miles per hour.
So hold on, you change the subject.
Debbie,
you're deflecting again. Debbie, you're deflecting again.
Wow.
Do you now understand why rockets go sideways?
Oh, I heard it's for liftoff. Yeah, friction or whatever they need for the Earth.
No, gravity.
Gravity, you fucking retard. Gravity.
Yeah, it has something to do with that.
Debbie, let's stick on the subject. You were complaining that rockets were going sideways. Now, do you accept our answer?
I said it's the lack of evidence. I just said that they switched to cartoons and things like that.
You have evidence. You have evidence that they go sideways. You just said it.
They prove they're in space by simulations. I can't do
Debbie,
that.
you're deflecting. You're changing the subject. Do you understand?
We're talking about rockets and
do you understand now why rockets go sideways? Do you understand now why rockets go sideways?
Yes, I do, sir.
Because aliens put the
now we can Okay, now you can bring up the subject of your cartoons or whatever else you wanted to bring up. Now we've moved. We've finished that subject. I mean, on another one.
Well, actually, wait. First, though. So you accept the fact that the rocket going sideways, which is what you said you saw, is exactly what you would expect to see because that's how orbits work.
And I also saw them start nosediving, and when they start nosediving, like in 4 or 5 minutes, they switch to the simulations.
That's a new subject.
It's the Mandela effect, I tell you. They switch realities, and the real rocket goes into the ocean, and the fake one goes up into the space. And then they switch
Debbie, are you aware you're changing? Are you deliberately changing the subject every time you try to focus on it?
We're talking about rockets.
Yeah, but hold on. No, but we're talking about a particular point about you bring up an issue, and then you try.
It's rubbish. It's rubbish.
Are you aware you're doing that, or do you do it deliberately?
Rubbish. She doesn't. She thinks it's all connected.
Double mute. Hi, I muted the two people who were talking because I'm going to say a word. Sorry, Rumpus. Sorry, Debbie had to mute you both. So,
rubbish.
Okay, so Debbie, do you understand why you're being accused of changing the subject?
So we're talking about rockets and if they're actually getting into
okay, but we're talking about a specific aspect of rockets, not everything to do with rockets. If you talk about rockets and then talk about 20, let's face it, you could talk all day about rockets.
I know. Except it's wasting time.
Okay, well, we have plenty of time.
it's wasting
we're
time.
going long today.
You're supposed to be proving your globe, and you haven't proven a globe. You haven't showed me a globe image.
We've not been talking about a globe at all. The globe never really came up. We've been talking about other things. Well, everybody else. It wasn't about
That's the whole thing. Is the point of rockets getting up and getting a clear, crisp picture of the.
I'm just completely losing the plot here. We weren't talking about the globe. Nobody was talking about flat Earth. We were talking about rockets and how rockets actually work. And you've been all over the place. And I'm going to have to go and change my underwear in a minute because I've laughed so hard. I am now sitting in a puddle of wee, listening to this utter bloody nonsense. I don't know how much more I can take.
Fiona, have it on effect. You'll be fine. Just
I have a statistics class to go to, and my head fucking hurts.
Of course, I'm not talking English, am I? That's right. I'm talking a different language. Give me the hash, Debbie.
She did say that Fiona was speaking another language.
All right, guys, let's do a quick reset. I'd ask who has a question for Debbie, and I'm sure every hand would raise.
No, Holy's been waiting to say something.
Spackle, the floor is yours.
Any flat earthers here?
I lost what I was trying to say because Rumpus was interrupting every single person on the panel.
Go.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Sorry. Well, with something, Debbie, I think you're going to be quite firm, I'm afraid. Sorry, Holy.
So I'm curious. I've never seen something from a flat earther, Debbie, and that's any math literacy.
Vice versa.
Vice versa. Okay. Well, what was I going to ask you?
Ask the question. You said you haven't seen any of my evidence.
Did I said evidence?
Yeah. Does that? Yeah. You haven't seen anything from flat earther.
Or did you interrupt me? Or did you interrupt me before I said what it was?
Exactly what I said.
Exactly. I was saying.
Go get yourself a pair of glasses and look at all the experiments that are.
Why would I need glasses when I was
obviously
saying?
You can't see a laser test. You don't see people putting up Zoom cameras. You don't see the world's record long distance scenery. You didn't see that one, did you?
I'm not listening to you because I'm still trying to say.
Okay. All
I've
right.
not asked you the question yet, Debbie.
All right, Debbie.
He hasn't asked you the question yet. He's still waiting to ask you the question.
Okay.
You have tried to answer a question. He's not even asked yet.
Got it. So yeah, Debbie, he hasn't actually finished the sentence. I'm sure you.
Okay, so we have a long time. Okay, so go ahead and say it.
We've only been on for 40 minutes. This is still. We still.
Well, let's get to it. Get to the meat. Say the question so I can answer it the best I can.
On your part for a moment.
You see, I'm waiting patiently until you run out of breath, hoping that hypoxia runs over you.
That's not going to happen, Drag.
Circular breathing.
Yeah. When you and I talk, I'm happy to just be quiet.
Hey, how about we let Drag go now?
So
let it go for 10 minutes.
So I want to see flat Earth math demonstrating whatever it is that you guys believe. I have honestly never seen in the years that I've been speaking to you guys. Can you please tell me why there is a severe lack of flat Earth math? Take your time. You're muted, by the way.
I hope she knows that.
Yes, and what's the math supposed to do? Explain.
Demonstrate your position.
What aspect of what?
I don't know. The shape.
Okay, the shape. So math, right? You apply the formula, right, to find the curvature. Is that what you are referring to?
No, no, not any curvature. No, the Earth as you guys see it in any incarnation, just the math to demonstrate the point that you guys are making, or points, I should say.
I'm just looking at all the experiments, and I had to look elsewhere because I don't really trust everybody. I don't. So I look for things like what engineers are saying about it. If there's railroad tracks that are laid on this curvature. Looking at what land surveys are saying about it, and to my understanding, they don't lay anything according to the curvature rules.
Okay, I'm not saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen real carefully. Okay, I'm not talking about any curvature Earth or any globe Earth or anything like that. If your position is that the Earth is a flat plane of any type, I would like the math specifically that you use to demonstrate that point, not to disprove globe Earth, not to anything else to do with any curve. I'm specifically looking for evidence for your claims in the form of some type of mathematics, including a formula or some type of equation that you guys utilize. You understand what I'm looking for?
Sure. But show me a globe image. You don't have a single one that you can show me.
Again, I'm not talking about you trying to disprove a globe. I have no interest in that.
That's what I'm here for. I'm disproving the globe over and over.
Okay, so you don't actually have evidence. You don't actually have evidence to show me your position.
And you don't have any evidence either, sir. I'm telling you that.
Chris, where you go? You try.
You haven't offered anything, Debbie. Can you please offer? You said you've got some proof of the lack of invalidating the bloody hell, Debbie.
Yes, let's find another area.
One piece of evidence.
Rumpus, let me take a shot here.
Let's find another area where we know that they've done something according to the curvature. If a long bridge or a railroad track, and I'm not finding any. You cannot show me a picture that any railroad track or a bridge that's been laid on top of curvature. Period, because there is none. And if you find one, send me the blueprints. I'll have somebody look at them.
Let me take a shot at this. So, would you agree that whatever the actual shape is, you should be able to describe it with math if that's what actually exists?
If you see it, you can measure it, sir. But we're not seeing it. Nobody's seeing it. They're doing laser
No, I'm
tests
talking
and all
about
kinds of things
whatever
like
is
that.
true. Whatever is true. Whatever.
If you can see something, you can measure it.
Right. You agree that
Get that
something
through your thick skull.
Okay, so you agree that something is true about the shape of the Earth, right? Yes.
If you're
something
seeing
is true.
curvature, I'm not seeing it.
Did I
I'm
just
not
say
seeing any
curvature? Did I say curvature? Did you hear me say
We're talking
curvature?
about math and applying
Did you hear
math
it?
to measure where the curvature
Did you hear me say curvature? Did I say dick about curvature?
And he's talking about math. So if it's not talking about the curvature, then what is he looking for? What equation or
flat
what is
plane.
exactly
The
supposed to
flat
be
math.
moving?
Plane.
Your math, the math that
What about
you use to describe the
I
Earth.
use my eyeballs, sir.
Let him
All of
finish
you
the
should
sentence.
use your
Let him finish
eyeballs.
the
So what you're
sentence.
saying
He's in the middle
is-
of a sentence there.
There is no curvature. It
He was
doesn't
in the
even
middle of a
exist.
question there, Debbie.
Let me
You don't know eye perspective, obviously.
Debbie,
Let me
he's
take
in the
another
middle of
run
the
at this.
sentence.
Let me take another run at this. If I look up,
Is there another flat earther here?
For goodness sake.
if I look up and I see the sun in the sky from where I
Here we
live,
go with the sun again. Wow.
just let me finish this. Okay. I look up and I see the sun in the sky from where I live. You live somewhere else. You look up, you see the sun in the sky from where you live. We're looking at the same object, right?
I hope so.
Okay. Okay. So we're both seeing the same object. We're looking at it from a different angle, right? We
Mhm.
see it in a different place in the sky because we live in different places,
Correct.
but it's the same time. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So if we know the distance and the angle between where we each live, which we can measure on the ground, right? And we know the angle of the sun in the sky from where each of us live at that particular time. That
Mhm.
right. So that makes a line between where we both live, right? And then a line from where I live to the sun, and a line from where you live to the sun, right?
Okay. What do you mean by line? What's the line?
I mean, like you could have a hypothetical line.
Don't say hypothetical line. Be specific. Specific.
Like if you held up
No
your arm,
theoretics and no hypothetics.
if you held up your arm and you pointed at the sun, right?
Yeah, I
From-
see a disc in
He's
the
in the
sky.
middle
I
of
don't
a
see a
sentence,
fireball.
Debbie.
I don't
line-
see a fireball.
In the middle of a sentence,
I'm not
Debbie.
talking
would,
about that.
imply.
I'm saying that if you continuing,
You can't.
past,
You can't
past
measure
the
the
point of your
distance.
finger,
You don't
past
have
the
the
point of your
math.
finger, past
You
the
don't
point
have
of
the
your
math
Debbie,
that proves
you're
the
interrupting his
distance.
sentence.
past the point of your finger, it would continue out to where the sun is. Yes,
Yeah, you're using your finger as a reference little
that
type.
would be
You know.
that would be a line. There would be a line from where you are to the sun. Okay.
Okay.
And from where I am to the sun, and a line between where I am and where you are. Okay.
Okay.
3 lines. Yeah. 3 lines. That makes triangle, right?
What do you mean by lines? I mean, is this an imaginary line that we're looking at? I mean, I don't understand lines.
Do you understand how geometry works?
Yeah,
You know what
but
geometry is.
but you cannot yourself know the distance of the sun to the Earth.
Yes, we can.
Actually,
yourself,
I
if you went out
can,
there,
because of
no, you can't.
a thing called
Yes, you
geometry.
No, you're assuming that's what it is.
No, we can work it out. Evidence. You can do.
No.
There are exactly 2 options. Okay, option 1.
To lie or to tell the truth.
Option 1.
If you can't know the
option
distance,
1,
then you just say you don't know the distance. and leave it at that.
One,
Debbie, you're interrupting his question.
Option one is that we are looking at the same object, in which case, if we know the angles and we know the distance between them, we know the distance to the sun that we're looking at. And option two is that we're not looking at the same object.
Okay. Am I muted?
No.
Okay.
So which of those two things do you
no, you cannot confirm the distance of the sun to the Earth.
Yes, we can.
So it's either.
No, all the mathematicians came up with different. Oh no,
it is either.
All the mathematicians through the 500 years came up with a different distance.
It is either.
So which one is the correct one?
The most recent one.
It's the correct one.
The most recent.
Oh, so
no,
it was
I don't care about that. That doesn't matter. What matters is.
Well, I care about it because I want to know how we're coming to these distances.
Let me finish. Because of geometry, it is either the distance dictated by the geometry of the angles and the distance between us, or we're looking at two different things. There is no alternative.
Yeah, Debbie, do you understand what he means when he refers to geometry? You don't believe geometry is problematic or atheist or Satan or anything, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about the distance of the sun and proving what the actual true distance is.
So the thing is,
it doesn't look like it's that far away.
The thing is,
in our atmosphere.
If we're both looking at the same object, and we know the distance between us, and we know the angle that we both see the sun at,
okay,
we know the distance from us to the sun because of geometry.
But listen, the cartoons of NASA that show their little cartoons, the sun's relative size to the Earth doesn't match my observations of the balloon footage.
What does that have to do with what I just said?
Hold on, CRISPR. So Debbie,
I'm talking about a distance.
Guys, let her go.
You keep going with the math. You keep going with the math. But it's not matching. The math is not matching what my own eye see.
It matches exactly.
No, it does not. That's a lie. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Matches.
I see a little.
Let her go.
And the horizon just goes along. The sun is very close. The hot spots prove it. You cannot disprove that, and you can't escape that fact. That you cannot have you have to have a lumpy light in order to get a sunspot. You can't escape that fact. You can't, because the higher you pull up a light bulb to the ceiling, it's not going to create a hot spot. So these hot spots, the sun is local. Yeah.
Right. So
it's a localized light source that's going around the Earth.
What?
Yeah, and the triangulation of the rays, the crepuscular rays.
Yeah, we know.
They converge to the.
Don't let her sidetrack, Grumpus.
The source.
Let her go for a second.
They converge. That proves that the sun is very close. It's not at the distance, and you cannot yourself pinpoint the distance. You can just see the Helio model was when they did the sun.
By the lizard people.
Yeah, when they did the distances, they had to assume those distances. You have to start at one point. So you take your one celestial object and then you come up with assumed distance, and then you can apply the math with all the other celestial objects.
Are you good at maths, Debbie?
No, I'm not. Are you good at math?
Yes.
All right, hold on. Stop.
Well, she's wandered off the subject.
Hold on.
How good are you?
Very good.
How good at math?
Very good.
You want to poke fun at me? How good at math are you?
Very good.
No, I'm not good at math.
Debbie,
but my eyeballs are not lying to me when I see a sun very close.
Hold on, Debbie. Hold on.
Our beautiful flat Earth.
Deb, hold on.
And I'll defend it.
Debbie, 1 sec.
And I will continue to defend it because the curvature.
That's fine. We get that.
Just still have not proven it.
I
have not proven the curvature, and we're finding it to measure it to apply the freaking math.
All right, Debbie, I have a question for you. I have a simple question. You ready?
You didn't answer my question.
Okay, well.
Okay. Sorry, what's the question?
Hold on, Rumpus. Hold on.
He wanted to know if I was good at math, and I'm asking, is he good at math? And how good is he at math?
That's silly. So here's my question. Are you ready?
Yeah, you don't like to hear my questions because you can't answer them.
Guys, I'm trying to keep some peace.
If all you guys are so good at math equations, there's an Andrew Beal open on the table, a 1 million prize unsolved math equation. Now, all of y'all on the panel, go fucking get it. Go get it. Don't poke at me.
I still got my question.
I don't need math to look up at the sun and see that it's right. It's very close. It's emitting its light on me.
You claimed we couldn't use math.
You're not helping. For a sec.
Sorry, JD.
Hold on. I know it's hard.
We could show a real globe image.
She keeps on saying we're not answering questions.
The Earth.
You just gotta like.
This is so funny because it would end all discussions.
You keep on saying we haven't answered their question. That riles me.
Rumpus, I got 6 hours.
Yeah, you don't have a real image of Earth.
God damn! Shut up, everybody. God damn.
All right, Debbie. My question is this: what is required to know the length of all of the sides of a triangle? What is the minimum you need?
What does that have to do with the price of beans?
Trust me, it will go someplace.
I'm going with my eyeballs. See, during looking at footage.
I'm glad about
I'm seeing a sun at that distance.
Eyeballs. I'm talking about old-fashioned.
You yourself cannot prove the distance of the sun. Period. Just by looking at it and doing whatever measurement that you're doing. Debbie? So you're gonna have to explain me how you're doing the measurement.
All right, listen, Debbie. If you don't know the answer, it's fine to say you don't know.
No, I don't know about calculating distances. No, I'll admit that.
Okay.
She's not going to sit there and have my eyes tell me I'm not seeing things with my own eyes. And see
so
that
Christopher,
very close and local. The hot spots prove it. You can't escape that fact.
Debbie,
you can't escape it.
Debbie, don't go on a run.
That's just the way the light is working.
I don't want to mute.
Localized light.
I want you to just calm down and be quiet for a second. Thank you. So, Christopher, what is required to know the lengths of all sides of a triangle?
Well, I guess basic geometry, right?
Yeah, what's the minimum?
The minimum of the lengths?
To figure out the lengths.
Oh, right. So I mean, if you know one length, right, and the angles of the triangle, then you can figure out everything else.
SOHCAHTOA, baby, SOHCAHTOA.
All right. Now, Debbie, you have no problem with that, I hope.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
Okay.
Well, go ahead and repeat it.
To figure out.
Go ahead and repeat it.
So if you know the angles between the sides of a triangle, right?
Yeah.
And you know the length of one side of the triangle, you can figure out the length of the other sides of the triangle.
Yeah, I understand how they came up with the distance of the rays.
No, you're not.
3,000 miles.
All right. Let me give a different example. Let me give a completely different example. I was talking about.
Measure it. That's how they.
I was talking about. I was talking about you and me looking at the sun. But let's say you, me, and Hogtie. Hogtie lives in a third place,
I know what triangle looks like, moron. I do know what that looks like.
Okay, great. So that's a
I
third.
see it all the time on TV.
Here's my question.
Logos. You don't have
here's
to
my
show
question.
my face like the.
Here's my question. So here's my question. I have my question then.
Is the globe.
So here's
the
my
mass
question.
of a triangle.
So my question is this: if we have the three people, right, and we know the angles between the three people, okay, and we know the distance between two of them, can we figure out the distance between each of those first two people and the third person?
Go on to nowhere, that little rocket.
Okay, so again, my question is,
Debbie, you're deflecting, Debbie.
I know the angle.
Somebody's showing like pictures of
Yeah, well, you're still deflecting. You can ignore them. Try and ignore them, Debbie. Try and focus on what Chris is saying.
I know what he's talking about.
I know.
Measuring
if
the
I know the angle between a straight line to where you live and a straight line to where Hogtie lives, and you know the angle between a straight line to where I live and a straight line to where Hogtie lives, right? And we know the angle between a straight, right, for Hogtie between the two of us, and I measure out the distance from where I live to where you live. So now I know the length of one side and all three angles of this triangle, right? Can we then figure out the distance between you and Hogtie?
I guess
with geometry. With geometry. Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah, it would work.
So now,
so
instead of Hogtie, we exchange the point of Hogtie for the sun, which you accept is a physical object that exists. Yes, it's somewhere.
It's an object, but I don't know what it is, and you don't know what it is.
I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. What it is
is
irrelevant.
I do care what it is because
we'll get there. Its position.
We will get there.
We will
get there. We will get there. We will get there.
You keep ignoring that.
I'm not ignoring it. I'm dealing with one thing at a time because I have the capacity to focus. I have the capacity to focus on a specific question. Okay, so the sun exists somewhere. Okay, right? It is the third point of the triangle.
I get that. I'm telling you off the fly. I've not done all these measurements. I'm looking at just what my eyeballs are looking at, and I'm telling you that the sun is close. It's not 93 million miles, and I have 2 pictures that debunk the sun is 93 million miles distance relative to Earth.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay.
Exactly.
No, let me
cannot,
finish
if
though.
The rays converge. They are not parallel.
So the end of this thought is that just like with hog tie, if we know the angle between each of us individually and the sun from where we are, and
knock it off, little dude over there. Can you tell your panel to stop showing these ridiculous images?
And
we showing ridiculous images.
Hang on.
And we know the distance between you and I.
Better than JD. At least he's showing me something.
Who are we talking about?
I'm sorry.
And we know the distance between you and I. Then because of geometry, we can calculate the distance between us and the sun.
Okay.
If you disagree with that, you are rejecting geometry.
I don't care. I'm going with what my eyeballs see. It doesn't have to be. You guys make it fucking complicated, or it doesn't have to be.
Debbie.
Okay, so what you're saying though,
I don't really care what you have to say about it. You can have all your math equations. Go solve the unsolved math equations.
So what you're saying is
you cannot. None of you go and solve the most difficult math equations.
No, we're not that good. No, we can't
$1 million
solve.
prize.
No, we can't solve.
If you're so great at math, go do it yourself.
Debbie, we're not as good as a Nobel Prize winning mathematician.
Well, I'm not a mathematician.
We've never made that claim.
I'm not as good as the
others. We're gonna have to do quite on.
I don't need to go out and do measurements.
So what you're saying?
Hold on, CRISPR.
But what my eyes see.
Give Debbie a little breathing room because we are kind of being
up. That's what science is. I look as operative.
Anyway, CRISPR, I think your point was made as well as it could ever be made in this environment. Would you agree?
Yeah. Well, you still didn't address the prescriptive arrays and the sunspots.
I can do that if you like. I can do that.
I brought up.
Totally escaped that one.
All right.
Can we give Redline a chance, please?
Oh, that's okay.
Actually, Redline is the only one Debbie here, Rick, actually knows.
And what about the reflections?
Debbie, Debbie, I am more than happy to answer all 1.5 million of your fucking questions, but one at a goddamn time.
I didn't ask you nothing.
Keep your shit in one place at a time.
Red is actually
try that and see what happens.
We're talking about the sun. We're talking about the sun.
Let's talk about those corpuscular rays. Okay, you say because the corpuscular rays converge, that therefore the fucking sun must be closed. By your fucked up logic, the reason why train tracks cross over or converge in the distance must mean that the fucking train doesn't go very far. You see how your own logic fucks you up the ass that way.
The freaking sun and see that it's very close.
Do you see how your own logic fucks you up the ass that way?
It's not. It's everybody's logic. It's flat Earth logic, then. Okay.
Yeah, it's called FLIR logic, and that's why it's false.
A sunspot.
All right, because by the same effect that makes corpuscular rays.
Okay, we're gonna mute both you for a second. All right, we're gonna take a 5-second breather. Everyone, count to 5. Realize that Debbie is in fact the only flat earther here, and she's dealing with basically 9 people who disagree strongly with her beliefs. So we're gonna give her a little breath.
So put it under your tongue.
Sorry, Debbie. Yes.
Are we applying just a tip? Is that what's happening?
She was well warned ahead of time that this was going to be yes. She's in the lion's den. She knows it, so she's cool with it. But even then, once you're there and everyone's yelling at you, give her a second to just kind of take a sec.
It's like you try.
Well, we're gonna do point, and this time if I have to, I'll mute each of you whenever I need to. So, Reds, go ahead and ask your question, and then Deb can respond to it.
Well, it's not a question; it's an answer. All right.
All right.
She, by her logic, corpuscular rays prove that the sun is close because they converge. Therefore, those light rays are not parallel. I'm sorry. I think we all agree that train tracks are parallel with each other. They never converge. But yet, if you look at train tracks as they, off in the distance, they converge in the distance. That means by her own logic, train tracks must not get very far. They're not parallel for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles because they converge in the distance. Her biggest problem is that she doesn't know what the law of perspective is. And that just because something converges in the distance, that does not mean that they are not parallel. In fact, parallel lines will converge in the distance because of the law of perspective. So no, that does not prove that the sun is close.
Okay, so let me address your.
Debbie, go ahead, respond as long as you want, and after you're done, say.
Let me address the. Can you hear me? Let me address the railroad track thing. Is there a sun at the end of the convergence line at the horizon? Is there a sun sitting there? No. You're looking downward on a track, and you're looking up at a celestial object. So know the fucking difference.
And the lizard people told me this.
All right, guys, we're gonna, for the moment at least,
I don't know anything about that. I came up with that on my own. So it's different. There's no sunlight at the end of the tracks.
All right, guys,
can I have a go? I have not actually
the next about 10 minutes.
It's different.
Ed and Debbie the floor for about 10 minutes.
You're looking down and you're looking up at the sun. It's two different things. And what's above your head doesn't determine that below your feet is a freaking globe, and you can't prove it. And you have not one globe image.
So that will be Debbie.
You don't have a globe image. Nobody does. And this is a big problem for us. We don't have a real globe image.
It is a problem. By the way, I hope you don't mind. I'm actually going to hang on. My turn to talk.
His turn to talk.
My turn to talk. My turn to talk.
Debbie, it's his turn to talk.
We've been learning about.
JD, mute, please.
All right, she's good. She's good.
Okay. So while I'm giving my explanation, I'm going to go ahead and just. I actually hate my logo, so I'm just going to change it. I hope you don't mind. Anyway, that's a lot better. Sorry about that. Anyway, so as I was saying,
I love this.
Debbie,
it's a magnet. That's
my turn to talk.
All right, I got to mute you, Debbie, because it's his turn. You can respond to whatever he presents after he's done presenting it.
Okay, whether at the very end of those train tracks, if they're, which again, no end because convergence doesn't mean it fucking ends there. Whether it's a train, whether it's a sun, whether it's fucking Scooby-Doo, it doesn't matter. All right, the same laws of optics apply, and basic geometry. All right, trigonometry, shit like that. Basically, if you have two parallel lines, they will appear to converge in the distance. That is how perspective works. Perspective works with every object. Perspective is not bias. Now, if you wish to assert otherwise, go ahead. But that's quite a burden that you're picking up, and I highly doubt you will be able to bear it. So please tell me, please show me one example of the law of perspective being biased from one object to the other. Go.
All right, Reds, you're done. Debbie, take it away. You're muted, Debbie, so there's a thing that you got to click the thing in the up there and then you for you to respond.
Mic at the top.
Mic at the top.
Well, while this gap is going on, her claim is, remember, that the corpuscular rays, because they're converging, proves that the sun is close. Dereds has just made a very good point about the railway tracks, that they converge, but that doesn't prove that where the point where those railway tracks seem to converge is close to you. So that principle, which she's using, that the convergence of those rays proves that the sun is close, we can demonstrate with railway tracks that the converging of those lines does not.
All right, thanks, Rumpus. Debbie, I know if you know of a flat earther who's available right now, I will invite them. Until then, I mean, like I said, the questions posed to you because the rest of us are kind of fine with modern physics. So,
and geometry.
You're still muted, by the way. God, I hope you haven't been doing the Nephilim free thing and talking the whole time.
Very good.
I mean, that happens. That happened. We were in drag.
I know what you mean.
We were in Drag's hangout. That it happened over and over again. They're like, okay, you're muted. Okay, well, shit. It's not her fault. She's not done a lot of hangouts. Nephilim Free has less excuse. He's done a ton of them and still doesn't know how it works.
Do we all remember that TE hangout where he was talking about Tyson? And he went on for like 15 minutes with no sound.
There was one occasion that was hilarious. And then he was unmuted, and he came back, didn't he? And then we discovered he was still talking, as though it never stopped.
Well, either Debbie doesn't know how to unmute, or maybe she just needs a break, and it's fine. We still have Tommy and G-Man to bring up. Oh wait, not bring up G-Man because he asked it. He's a nice guy. He's a sweetheart. So we're gonna leave G-Man alone.
I still want to know the answer to my question eventually. So as soon as she starts talking again, just let her kind of answer my question. I want one example.
That thing showing there. We got it. We got the question already sitting there. So.
Yeah, give me one example of the law of perspective being biased from one object to the other.
Thing is, I mean, she brought up. Okay, I'm not going to change the subject.
She's posting pictures.
She's what?
She's posting pictures on the external.
In the external, let's see it here. Okay.
Okay. Any
Feel free to
particular
share
reason?
those if anybody who wants to.
Because
Any particular reason why we can't get, her talking?
I don't know.
I think she's busy looking up images that I believe in her mind prove.
Oh, okay. So, I'll take this one at a time. JD, do you want to screen share these images?
Yeah, one sec. Let me
screen share the first one. I'll go ahead and debunk that real quick.
All right.
It's fairly easy because I debunked this shit back in 2015.
I need a zoom in function. Darn it! All right, I just ask it. Whatever. I'll just leave it at that. All right.
All right.
Screen share. Doo-doo. There it is.
All right. So once you have the first image up.
There we go. First image. Is it showing? Good.
All right, there we go. So apparently she's showing images of a curve that I'm guessing this is supposed to represent like ships disappearing over the horizon. Ships disappearing over the horizon kind of debunks flat Earth, so I'm not sure why she's actually showing this, but whatever.
Yeah. Incoherent.
That is one tall man there, I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm really tall.
Guys are fucking. That's like guys like I'm 7 miles.
They're allowed to, because whenever you draw a sphere, you have to do things out of scale to get the principle. But this doesn't even demonstrate anything at all. I don't see how this is an argument.
It's just the guy in the surfboard is bigger than the ship. That's just
yeah. But you're allowed to do that to draw a diagram.
Go to the next image, JD.
That just proves.
All right, this one I love. Okay, I love this one. Okay, so what this is showing is that the angles would be exactly the same on a ball as they would be for the flat Earth, vice versa, and blah blah blah. So because of the angle at which the shadows would appear on a ball, you can't reasonably confirm the shape of the Earth. That is bullshit, because here's the thing. If the sun really were as close as the flat earthers claim it is, then we should see the angular size of the sun change throughout the day. As I demonstrated back in 2015, the angular size of the sun does not change throughout the day. Therefore, that flat Earth model does not match reality.
I've got something to add to that.
Deb needs to hop back in. Her ghost was keeping her from coming back in. That's what happened.
Okay, I've got a very good point. Oh, you've changed. Can you go back to that previous diagram with the?
Stop looking at your stock exchange.
Can you bring that back? The one with the rays.
Ripple to go up. Oh.
Can you please? I've got a very important point to make about that ray diagram. A very important point that people do use because superficially.
Okay.
Hold on, Debbie. I'm just invalidating this diagram.
How's Ripple doing? Let's take a look.
Can have the dark right. What you can do.
What the heck is going on with my device?
Never mind.
Stupid. I can't stand Apple.
Yeah, right. So if you can, in theory, with just 2 sticks, come to a conclusion. If you assume a flat Earth, that the sun is about 3,000 miles away. But if you use a 3rd stick, you'll find that those rays do not cross one another. So in fact, what you will see is that no 2 rays will cross in the same place when you do this experiment. So they're relying on the fact that you only ever use 2 sticks. If you use more than 2 sticks, it actually invalidates the flat Earth, and it's only consistent with the spherical Earth. So this actually proves.
I don't even know if I'm on the panel or not.
Hold on, Debbie. So this actual experiment she's suggesting here actually proves the spherical Earth, because if you use more than 2 sticks, it actually does not. All those lines that she's got crossing going to the sun actually do not go to the sun. They cross in different places.
Correct.
Actually, I could demonstrate this right now. I have a geometry program.
I heard that can apply on a flat Earth too. I heard the story. Are you talking about Aristophanes? Is that who he's talking about? Who did the?
Well, that's what yours.
We don't even. Yeah, we don't even know if he was if it was a fictitious person.
Oh, forget that's irrelevant.
Irony.
You didn't find out. Yeah, you don't even know if he's a real person.
I don't care.
That's a long time ago.
I know he was reptilian.
Of course you don't care. Maybe he
the
was
reason why I don't care is because it's irrelevant.
I just want to say quickly that
I heard it works on a flat Earth too.
It doesn't.
I need more evidence than just some sticks. I need more evidence than that.
Then why have you looked at this diagram? You introduced the diagram, not us.
I can't see my screen. Like my screen is frozen.
I'm sharing.
We can hear you.
Well,
all I'm saying is T on my screen.
Debbie, here's the thing. I'll try to explain it, even though you can't see your screen. I said I will try to explain it, even though you can't see your screen. By the way,
I've heard you explain it a dozen times on your debates. I'm not impressed.
You can't see your screen.
I'm not impressed with your. I'm not impressed.
Let me go ahead and try to explain it.
No.
Okay?
Well,
No.
Your debate's such a big one. I don't like your debates. You don't have.
Let me go ahead and try to explain it,
and I can't
even though
see
you
my
can't see your screen.
I can't
All
see
right.
my screen. Reds.
Debbie, do you
Go ahead and try it.
Do you draw at all or
So,
paint or anything?
Let me try something.
If you look at the diagram,
Are we going back to the old image or the new one?
I want to go back to the sun image, please.
There you go. There's the
Thank
sun
you.
image.
Keep it on there, and do me a
right
favor and have some moderation because I will keep getting overtalked.
I'm working on it. Debbie, could you be quiet for a sec? We're looking at an image you shared in the outside chat of a little tiny sun and divergent rays and globe Earth model, flat Earth model. You know that one? You just shared it.
All right. So
I don't even know if it's there, but
and also Team Android represent, by the way, will bathe in the blood of our enemies. Anyway, let's go ahead and keep going. So, if you look at these two models, what it's trying to show is that there will be the same degree of angles on the flat Earth model with a close sun and on the round Earth model with a sun that's very far away with parallel lines, or parallel sun rays lines. All right, that is true. However, what this model is failing to take into account is the angular size of the sun on the flat Earth. As a car drives away from you, it gets smaller in your vision. The same thing would happen with the sun because on the flat Earth, it's going to get closer to you and then further away from you, sometimes by over 16,000 kilometers per day. And they claim that the sun is around 32 to 50 to 60 miles wide. We've heard many different fucking figures of this. But when you do the math and you do actual fucking trigonometry, you will see that you should expect to see the sun changing in angular size throughout the entire day. When we actually do this observation with a solar filter and a camera at the same zoom level throughout the day, as I have done back in 2015, we see that the angular size of the sun does not change throughout the day, which means the flat Earth model is bullshit.
Yeah,
that's
an excellent point. That's a different point to this one, though. Red.
Hold on a sec. Let's give Debbie a chance to respond.
She keeps quaking. She's quaked again.
She's
she has
quaking.
to wait for her host to get out.
That's
for Christ's sake.
Well, hey,
Anyways,
let's go ahead and move to the next image then. If she's not here to respond, we just go to the next image. Here we go.
Vanishing point. Wait a minute. This kind of like prove what I've been saying.
Yeah, it does. I don't understand how this proves.
Just because the train tracks converge in distance, that doesn't mean they fucking stop there. It doesn't stop there.
Guys, Holy Sparkle was trying to say something.
I wanted to ask her if she drew or painted or something like that. Debbie, do you
okay,
draw?
I just got on. I'm just.
Welcome back.
I'm just okay. There we go.
Hey,
I'm
Debbie,
back on now.
This is
I don't know
Holy
what
Sparkle.
happened. My device is just like.
Debbie, somebody's trying to ask you a question.
Yeah, that's the vanishing point right there. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you see like a sun right there, Rex Rhetoric? Do you see a sun sitting there? No, it's different when you're looking up.
I got a question for you. I have a question for
so
you.
what's going on what's going on? What's
Debbie,
going beyond that vanishing point?
Debbie, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you draw or have you ever participated in any art? You don't have to be a mathematician.
Absolutely, I used to do it when I was a kid. I used to do it when I was a kid. And you know what? I didn't draw the sun like 93 million miles away, way up in the corner of the page. It was very
we
close.
don't know, right? But
it was what my own eye saw. It's the same thing that what my eyes see today.
All right, Debbie, a yes was all she was looking for.
I drew the pictures. I learned perspective lines and stuff.
We don't need to know if you're into Impressionism or Surrealism, all right?
I made both pictures. I made scenery pictures.
Okay, we don't need to know that. That was not important to the question.
You asked a question if I drew, and I said yes.
The reason why I asked is because I too am not a mathematician. I have dyscalculia. What that means is I struggle very hard with math. The best I've done at math is algebra 1. I'm not very good at it. I struggle very hard. It's really bad.
But you don't need math to explore the world and see
that's the point she's making.
Eyeballs. It's not the same.
The point is, you talking about your senses and your eyeballs. We know two things about perspective. If you've ever gotten, if you've ever drawn seriously, you know two things about perspective. One is that vanishing point that he's pointing to. That is telling a perspective, right?
That's what is the vantage point? Yeah, what is beyond that vanishing point is my question, because there's no curve there. and it's not no curve on the water either when the boat disappears beyond that vanishing point.
Separate issue.
Where it does. No, it's not. We're
talking here about your claim that crepuscular rays, because they converge, prove that the thing is close. And we can show from this diagram, you've even put up yourself, that they do not, the convergence of those lines of the tracks do not show that it converges to a point.
JD, quick thing about the image that you're showing. Here's the thing about the image that JD is currently screen sharing right now about convergence and how that's the reason why objects disappear as they get further away from you. Here's the thing about converging lines. Converging lines happen for everything as a whole. It doesn't have a bias to the bottom half of whatever object is actually disappearing. The only way that there can be a bias to the bottom half of the image, even though there is enough angular resolution to find out what the hell it actually is, whether it's ship or anything else going over the horizon, is if something gets in the way. Something external to law perspective is actually in play for objects to disappear bottom up instead of in totality as a whole.
I don't understand the point you're making, Reds, about this.
Okay, so the law perspective means that the object as a whole is going to shrink as it gets further and further away. Okay?
Yeah.
She's saying that this is why objects disappear over the horizon. No.
She hasn't actually said that yet. That's not a claim she's actually made yet.
I thought she pointed to the horizon and goes, there's no curve there of why objects disappear. Isn't that not what she just said?
Don't think, is that her point? I don't know. I'll ask her.
I would say that Red's on point. Red's on point.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, so the reason why law perspective kind of fails flat earthers is because, quite simply, they don't understand it.
And you don't need to be a mathematician to understand it. You could be an artist and get the concept.
Well, yeah, you don't have to be good at numbers or math or whatever. It's exactly as you said. You can be good at art, and just that concept of alone will be enough to tell you what is actually going on. No, nothing. Okay, that's what kills the room. Okay.
Yeah, I mean this diagram just proves that totally invalidates Debbie's points. So quite on earth why she's showing it to us, unless he's got some other point. She's trying to claim the sun is in the picture or something, and why the sun. I mean, your point was that we're arguing with was the crepuscular rays. You were saying because they converge, prove that the sun is close. From that diagram and from our experience of what railway lines do, we can show that's not a valid point to make. So we've invalidated your crepuscular ray point. Next claim.
Yeah, can I jump in on crepuscular for a second? There's a video I should put up on YouTube. I have to redo it because we didn't actually use. I'd have to narrate it a little bit, but my kids had asked me about this crepuscular rays. We were driving one time and they're looking out the window and you could see how the sort of rays. Oh, like the sun must be right behind the clouds. My son, understands that the sun's. My son, S-O-N, understands that the sun is quite far away. So they were asking me about it. So I'd seen a video on YouTube where a flat earther had taken a piece of cardboard and just cut some holes in it and then held it up a distance 4 feet or so above another flat surface and showed that the circles of sunlight that would go through those holes are evenly spaced on the floor. That is, they don't diverge, right? That is that the light source is so far away compared to the distance between your little filter, your little cardboard with the holes cut in it, and the surface you're projecting onto, that it doesn't matter. You can move the thing down to a foot or 4 feet or 8 feet. You can move it back and forth. The little sunspots that appear on the projection surface are the same distance apart because those rays are parallel, right? Yeah. So I'd made one of these in the garage, like with the kids, and we took it outside and we did exactly the same thing. Then I took my phone and put it on the back camera, turned it upside down, and slid it in amongst those rays on that bottom projection surface. And then we watched the video clip. And guess what? Crepuscular rays. When you look at the video from a small camera, like you have on your cell phone, taken in amidst those rays that come down from that little, cardboard, the little holes punched in that piece of cardboard, when you look at them, you can see them splay out like crepuscular rays. I should put that video up on there. I mean, my kids were 7 and 5 when we did that.
I mean, looks like Debbie made it back, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Could I maybe get 5 minutes or so to explain something to Debbie?
Sure.
Is there any other flat earthers here? Is there any other flat earthers here?
There really aren't a whole lot of flat earthers, period. So it's kind of hard to find two at one time. If you know of any, feel free to let them know. I'll drop them invite.
Nobody wants to join?
I could pretend to be a flat earther. I just need to. I need a brick.
You can probably pretend to be a lot of things. I really don't want to know that. But
well, JD, can Debbie give the link out to a fellow friendly flat earther she knows?
I can. By the way, I identify as an attack helicopter.
So I take it Debbie didn't hear anything.
Okay, so we need to note what the misconception is about this, the vanishing point, and what people claim that these boats are going over a curve.
She wasn't.
Yeah, they're not going over a curve.
Okay, I'll go ahead and explain this one more time. All right. The reason
you don't need to explain it because you're going against what my own eyes can see, and I'm
actually
seeing
I do need
about going over a curve.
That requires
and the zoom camera. Excuse me, the zoom camera cannot zoom through water and
let me jump
actually
in
observe
here,
a building back into you or a boat, and you'll never convince me otherwise.
Debbie, 1 sec. Remember, I'm moderator, so I get to cut through and shut people
down. That means you're discarding all the flat.
You know when I can speak.
Thing. There's the mute button. So quiet for a sec. Everyone else, they can kind of talk over each other, but the one privilege I get from being the person who runs this room is that I can shut everyone up. So please take that into account. I don't try to swing my big moderator dick around as much as possible, but in the end, I can do that from time to time. So, would you agree, Debbie, and I assume you're listening even though you're muted, that the math trumps your eyes, that math kind of cuts through, and your eyes can be biased, you can hallucinate, you can see things you didn't quite understand. However, the math trumps that. Would you agree that math greater than your personal vision of something? That's my question. Does math trump what you've seen?
What's the family to Sarah, honey?
Hogtie, predict what you're going to say. Yes. Do you believe that?
If you can measure something, you have to see it first. Where's the curve? Where is this?
Okay, well, so you agree that if the math says your eyes are wrong, the math is right and your eyes are wrong. You agree with that? Math first, eyes second. Would you agree?
They usually agree with one another, JD. I'm not sure there's a conflict here between the maths and what you see.
Well, every once in a while,
Not really.
Well, that's why I was trying to get her to understand this, on a conceptual basis, not a mathematical basis.
Okay.
So if something is disappearing in the distance due to perspective alone, are these converging lines?
You're escaping the fact if you see
Debbie, for fuck's sake, shut up! I'm trying to explain something to you.
No, you're not. I've already heard your explanations over on your other debates.
Be quiet, Reds. You big jerkhead.
Show us flat earthers.
Can you mute her, please, so I can actually get my?
Well, she is trying to ask a question.
All right, hold on. All right, listen. I'm gonna mute 3 people. Three people are getting muted because honestly, I gave Geo Strober a minute to do a little thing, and then we ran over him because let's face it, we're all pumped and we want to get our own words in. So despite that we're already going down this line, we're going to take a break from it, and Geo can jump in for a minute. And Drag is I'm going to share Drag. Drag is definitely on the right track. That is right. Honey.
What? It was a gift. It was a gift.
All right, well,
JD, real quick.
Get away with it then.
I want to be clear. My thing with that cardboard holes was not my turn. I hope that doesn't count as my turn. And I'm just can I take a quick poll? Did people not get that? Did you not know what I was talking about? The thing with the holes in the cardboard? People in live chat are like, what's you talking about? Do you not know what I mean? Crepuscular rays?
I got it.
We know.
All right, okay.
Nah, I got it.
Geo's going to burst if he doesn't get a go. Let Geo go.
So, Geo, you got a few minutes. I'm not sure. Just go ahead.
You still presenting me? Present someone else because I'm going to go fall down a flight of stairs.
Dude, but you're such a handsome man, all right? Just
give me mods. I can help you out here. Give me mods.
Take your shirt off again. That's what we really want.
No. I am more pro-choice than ever after listening to half this conversation.
Control room for Hogtie.
Walking argument for eugenics.
I can see there's a billboard for abortion, like they could be a flat earther.
That's like, don't let this poor guy speak or no.
Control room for Hogtie. He's better at it than JD.
I would like to hear what actually Debbie's complaining about.
Oh no, Rumpus! I will stab you in the face. All right, Geo,
you weren't getting onto Geo, so I thought you were messing about him.
Stab him. Someone who's in the UK. Fiona, you're sort of British. Go stab.
Okay, JD. Okay.
All right, Gio, you have the floor. Assuming you know that you have the floor. You're there, right?
Yeah, I'm here. So, Debbie, that picture you showed or you shared about 20 minutes ago. JD, can you please share my screen, maybe, for everyone?
Gio?
Yes, I can.
Gio.
And there you go.
Gio.
Right. He can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. What?
Yeah, you seem to forget that you guys have this model has been in construction for like what 500 years, and that we are just learning our model and how it fucking works.
So you're accepting that you're wrong on that?
And cherry pick things that we can't explain, things that I can't explain. But if I can't answer a question, I'm going to gladly say it, and you can ask another flat earther who's like been on that particular aspect of flat Earth for days on end.
Debbie, could I please make my point?
You put this diagram up, Debbie.
Hey, Rumpus, please let me do this. And Debbie.
And they converge to.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's give Debbie a couple minutes to get this.
I don't care about your stick sticking out of the ground or whatever. That experiment I haven't done yet.
Then why did you post the diagram?
It's impossible to get a word in here. Holy shit!
Exactly. I'm getting.
Even if I get the floor.
All right, hold on, Gio. Debbie, Gio has a question for you. Is that okay?
Give mods to Hogtie.
I'm sorry, I deal with trolls on a daily basis. I get like this. I tried the nice approach and it doesn't
Will
work.
you please
let Gio... People send me silly images.
I'm not asking to be nice.
Things like that.
I'm not
just sick of it.
Debbie.
I'm
not asking to be nice.
Be a good girl. I'm trying to be a good.
Okay, Debbie's having some kind of breakdown apparently. Trying to be nice, girl. Trying to be a good girl. I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl. Please, mommy, don't hit me. All right, we don't have time for that. So, Gio, please take the floor. Debbie, I don't know if you can hear. I muted you again. I don't.
JD, please do me a favor and unmute her because I actually need her the interaction with her.
Good luck.
She has to mute herself, but honest, as you know, Debbie has an issue with stopping once she gets going. Now I don't really think she's trying to be mean. I think it's just part of her personality, and so I let a lot of it slide. But at some point, you gotta say, listen, Debbie, you're gonna have to stop and reel yourself in, and then one-on-one. I'm trying my best to make it one-on-one. Rumpus is making it hard.
Sorry, JD.
But it's all right. So, Alexander,
yes.
You got as much as you need.
All right, Debbie. So again, to the picture that you were sharing about 22 minutes ago now. You were showing one flat Earth model with the different angles towards the sun, apparently, according to you, proving that the sun would be close. And the same thing happening on the spherical surface. The problem with that is, as Rumpus already pointed out, if you have 2 points, you can get the same angles, yes. But if you have 3, you will run into problems. And I've actually done 2 models with one with the spherical surface and one with the flat surface. These 2 models are to scale to one another. So you see, for example, the diameter here is 6, which I selected randomly, and then the distance between B and C on the surface here is 3.14, and it's the same over here, 3.14 and 6.28, if you can see over here. And I eyeballed this a little, so it's a little bit inaccurate, but it's good enough. So what's the blue line? The blue line in both models is the surface of the planet or the flat Earth. The green line is basically from every vantage point. Those are the 3 vantage points directly overhead, and those lines would be the parallel sunlights coming in on a spherical Earth. As you can see, we've got the angles 30 and 60 degrees here, and the same angles are applied over here. So you see here's the angle between the line directly overhead and the line towards the sun. And the same here, 60 degrees, line overhead, line towards the sun. It's the same here, here, and here. So those 2 models are to scale to one another. And as you can see, if you have 2 lines crossing over, they will yield 1 point. This is where on your flat Earth model, the sun or the moon or whatever object should be. The problem is that for the different values or the different points, you will get different points where they cross over. And this time, since I've taken 3 points, those will be 3 different points. So where in this model would that object be? Would it be here, here, or here? But this is pointing out that it's impossible to do on the flat surface.
You do realize she's not gonna get any of that, right?
Yeah, but I'm trying.
Yeah, but Gia, the point is you've got to establish have you established in your diagram what the angles are going to be? Because it's only when you actually do the measurement you find that you can't agree with them. Obviously, if you change those angles, I haven't quite worked out how you positioned your E and Fs.
First of all, forget the names of the different points. I did this randomly. So I've got 30 and 60 degrees over here. So so we have the distance is equal between here and here and here and here. And it's on the surface 3.14. So those two.
It looks like Scribble Scrabber. What I'm seeing in the sky looks like chemtrails. What I see.
So you fundamentally disagree with geometry? Are you saying
you just completely ignore everything that you said and just look at the pretty picture?
You have a sun right there, and they're blocking my sun. Okay.
Does everything look like a Debbie? Does everything look like a chemtrail?
I mean, really, no.
Debbie, do you understand?
Debbie, with the sun when it's blocked out with cloud pollution.
You're supposed to draw with the Crayolas, not eat them.
I mean, just fleets of aircraft just fluting up, and I call 911 and they don't do a damn thing about it.
This is the biggest deflection. I've gone to chemtrails and geometry. That is one hell of a deflection, Debbie. I've never ever seen any deflection of that scale.
I know. And chemtrails, they demonstrate eye perspective because when the plane is going and carrying a long trail, it's not curving around a ball, you idiot.
Debbie, did you just say you dialed 911 for a chemtrail?
It's leaving out of your view.
Hello, Debbie.
Alex, I think you're onto a loser there.
Wait, did Debbie just say she dialed 911 for
I was so tempted to end the show on Scribble Scrabble because it was so perfect.
Can I get an answer?
It's a flat road.
I'm sorry if I can't.
Debbie, I'm still trying to ask you the question. Debbie, I'm still trying to ask you the same question. I've been trying for 20 minutes now.
I don't like you have Scribble
Scrabble
here. I don't know if this
Can you Alex, let me ask my question after my presentation. What's so hard about this?
It looks like slop.
Debbie, do you understand? Debbie,
it hurts.
Do you understand why you will run into geometrical problems?
Stop.
Sorry, Gio.
I never stab in the dark and say that she doesn't understand. I'm going to guess that.
Problem is, I haven't gotten any answer that made any sense whatsoever.
Like
In fact, I haven't gotten any answer.
Okay.
It's foreign to me. It looks like Scribble Scrabble.
Be quiet for a second.
I ain't got no time for none of your jibber jabber.
This is an expert on a flat Earth speaking. She understands everything about geometry, apparently.
Okay.
Remember, kids, don't eat glue.
This is what flat Earth does to you people. This is what being a flat Earther does to you. You don't understand geometry.
I still need an answer to that question.
I don't care about the geometry. I'm going with my eyes.
Just look at. You're not going to get the answer.
Debbie, did you actually say that you dialed 911 because you saw a
complication? For the model. You don't need all these.
I'm asking you a question, Debbie.
Complicated and for
Debbie, I'm asking a question.
Her inputs aren't on. Give her a second.
Debbie, let me ask you a question.
This model's been construction for a long time.
Debbie,
I'm just learning the model. I'm only 3 years into it, where the model.
Debbie, I'm trying to ask you a question. I'm trying to ask you a question.
You're not being fair. You're not.
I'm asking a question.
And I can't answer some of your questions. I'm not all-knowing, Elaine.
Let me ask the question. Let me ask the question.
Ask another flat earther that's more into this.
I'm not asking about that. I'm asking about something completely different.
Fiona, please.
Fiona, can I try maybe?
Can I please just ask the simple question?
Where's the fucking curve? I'm looking for a curve for 3 years and I can't find it.
Debbie, this is a really simple question for you. Did you
should have a globe image.
Shut the fuck up, Debbie.
Right, look, I want this.
Where's your globe image at? We have a space program.
Mute her.
I'm looking at Scribble Scrabble on a piece of paper.
I want to ask you a question.
You're just showing nothing.
Debbie,
you're not doing something here.
Debbie, it's a simple question, right? It's got nothing to do with the shape of the. It's got nothing to do with the. It's nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, Debbie.
Take one for the team here. Kick me if you have to. Kick me if you have to. I'm sorry. I'm taking one for the team. Kick me if you have to.
I'm going to ask this question if it kills me. Debbie, did you just say to me or to everybody in here that you dialed 911 when you saw a chemtrail?
Wait a minute, what? Repeat that question one more time, Fiona.
She mentioned something about dialing 911, and it was, and she was saying something about chemtrails at the time. So I'm trying to find out what she was saying. Was she saying that she had dialed 911 when she saw a chemtrail?
She dialed 911 for.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
She's currently muted.
Earlier, she did say that chemtrails. She's dialing 911. Yes.
Yeah. Right. So answer the question, Debbie. Did you dial 911? Did you dial 911 because you saw a chemtrail?
I'm not the only one that's calling 911 and calling DEQ I'm not the only one that's calling to these governmental agencies. They're doing absolutely nothing about the pollution. EPA.
No, I didn't ask that. I said, did you dial 911 because you thought you saw a chemtrail?
It was non-emergency number. I called the police department. It was non-emergency number. It was not 911. It was the police department at my local police department.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. That's why I was asking you the question, because I wanted to be clear on what you had actually claimed. So you phoned the police for a chemtrail. Right, fine, settled. I'll get nothing.
Yeah, I'm not the only one who calls.
Regarding chemtrails.
It's hard times,
Debbie.
Yeah, there's a
regarding
Debbie.
humanity.
I mean,
all right, hold on. Hold on. All right, I want to give Debbie a minute. We're going to count it down. We're going to give Debbie a minute to rant for a minute.
You can't identify the
check your
aircraft
clock. Check your watches.
It can be a terrorist come and dump shit on our asses and kill us. So you don't know.
Go ahead, Debbie. What were you saying?
Just expressing my concerns. That's all for everybody, for your children, your children's children, whatever. You know, our government agencies are not doing anything about any kind of air pollution that's going on. You know, on a daily basis.
Snow doesn't melt like it used to.
It's a global issue.
Global? It's a global issue. You're from Earth. How can it be a global issue?
No. Debbie has the floor. Go ahead, Debbie.
What's the question? Are we going like off topic or going to other areas? Do you want to talk about what cloning or what?
I would still get an answer to my question regarding my presentation that I made earlier.
Okay, Gio, I'm not I can't handle your scribble scrabble. It's an eyesore. I can't look at it. So present that to somebody else, but not me. I don't care about the scribble scrabble.
Do you want to get it explained to you again? I'm happy, Debbie. I'm happy to explain it again to you if you would actually listen.
Too many numbers. So take that to somebody else and show me some curvature, not some scribble scrabble on a piece of diagram.
Debbie, you shared a diagram which
she has the floor for a minute. Go ahead.
I don't have to accept your diagram as proof. Okay, it's like, Gio has brought something here, and this proves this.
You offer the diagram, Debbie. You offer the diagram.
He has the floor. How many times did I say it?
Not that. No, not that diagram. No, I did not. I was talking about the rocket diagram. If you think.
Debbie, please take a look at my screen.
I don't want to say it any more times. Debbie has the floor.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was talking about the rocket diagram and where that little thrust thing you said was located on it, which you didn't present to me earlier, JD. You showed me a lunar lander. I wasn't talking about the lunar lander.
JD, what is she talking about?
There was an initial topic. I mentioned that she wanted to know how that the moon landing could occur because you have to slow down. If you're going 8 miles per second, they somehow have to slow down. So I said, well, they can simply turn the rocket around and fire the thrusters. She asked where the thrusters were. I said it didn't matter, and she got mad at me. I said, of course it matters. I want to see a diagram.
You didn't even know how fast it's supposed to go to the moon. I had to ask you, and you had no clue about it, but I knew about it, and I knew how fast they have to go to get to the Mars. Because I did my research. You couldn't even answer how fast they have to go.
How fast were they traveling? Hang on, I have a question.
Okay, so obviously you're
traveling to the moon.
Obviously, you don't do your research, and I do, and I listen to all the astronauts and what they say, and what comes out, spews out of their mouth, and it all doesn't matter.
How fast were they traveling?
Phone calls to NASA. I called NOAA, NASA, and I asked my own
how
questions.
Fast were they traveling
they
to the moon?
Say it don't match up what you globies are saying.
How fast were they traveling to the moon?
I don't trust anybody. I don't trust.
How fast were they traveling to the moon?
I'm going to trust with my own eyes.
That's actually a good question.
That there's no spin. There is absolutely no spin to the Earth, and you can't.
Debbie, how fast?
How fast were they traveling to the moon?
How fast?
Excuse me?
How fast were they traveling to the moon?
It takes double speed. At 60 miles per second.
Double
to get
speed.
To the, Mars.
Double speed.
To get to the moon.
Double speed
of
what?
Did you watch Don Tyranny the Rocket?
It's double speed of what?
Moon versus going to Mars. That's what Don Pettit said out of his own mouth, and he said it's a difficult issue about getting a large payload rocket with the propellants that they mix together that can do 50.
So you don't
put it into miles per hour or kilometers per hour.
Go be my guest and do it.
Okay, let me ask.
Prove it to us and go up there and get a shot of the Earth.
I'm asking for like kilometers an hour, miles per hour, miles per second, kilometers per second.
It's double, Red. What more do you need? It's double.
For God's sake, I need more than double.
Well, then Don Pettit is a liar. Then Don Pettit is a liar.
Do you know how?
To be fair, I think Drag took that advice, and he has more than a double, and he's gone for the funnel at this point.
Yeah, can I get actual value on the speed of the limb or the rocket or anything? Which part of this are you actually talking about, and what speed of that part? What is the speed of that part?
The rocket, it has to gain velocity. It has to get up there. It has to go faster to keep up with all the rotations and everything that's going on up there. So you're gonna have to explain to me what's slowing the fucking rocket down.
That's not a speed, Debbie. That's not a speed.
We're talking about applies.
You haven't answered
about
the speed.
laws of motion.
What was the rate of speed?
I just did. I'm going by what Don Pettit
miles
said.
per hour.
Miles per hour.
Meters per second.
Yeah.
Go on then. Tell us. What is the miles per hour required to get to
I want to know what's slowing the momentum of the rocket, and that's all I need to know.
You're deflecting it, Debbie. You asked Red's asked you a question, and now you're deflecting. You're deflecting, Debbie.
I answered all your questions.
You were just criticizing. You were just criticizing JD. Hold on, Debbie. You just criticized JD for not knowing this fact. You criticized him for not knowing, and now you're admitting you don't know.
In Google, I just got a notification. Somebody called me a cunt, so you can understand the way I get. This is the way I act, and I'm not going to change for nobody.
Well, we haven't called you.
I'm going to defend on Earth. That is.
We haven't called you that, Debbie.
All right,
she won't answer it. What I got was 39,000 kilometers per hour.
All right, quiet on the set. Debbie, I had to mute you. It's not. I mean, you can curse all you want. Let's face it. The show is called Talking Shit Tuesday, so cursing's fine. However, if you don't let other people have a turn to speak, if you talk over constantly on 20 different subjects that aren't even being discussed, then you kill Fiona because she's been dying laughing for like last hour. And it's not nice. Fiona's getting up in years here, and she could just have a heart attack laughing her ass off. So you got think of this wonderful.
I hope so. I hope she's laughing. I hope all y'all laugh. I mean, a snake pit. I mean,
think of the Scottish Catholic.
I don't care.
You don't want to do that to her. Look,
I love you all. I'm not gonna down you because you're just
glad that you love me, but I still want to answer my question. How fast?
I feel dirty.
I mean, I was indoctrinated as well.
How
all you guys are indoctrinated. I mean, point blank. Just free yourself from it and think for yourselves.
What do you mean by indoctrinated?
You're trusting a governmental agency for your space information.
Well, that's
not true. Were they traveling
to
image? It's okay to say you don't know if you actually don't know the answer.
If I may, Reds, if I may. Debbie, we're not actually relying on NASA.
Yeah, what's slowing the momentum of the rocket?
Again, we talked about
slowing the mental rocket. If you're flying laws of motion, you need to apply another applied force to slow it down, to stop it, or whatever. What's the applied force? What's on the rocket itself?
Okay, all right, we got the question, Debbie. We got the question. Reds, go ahead and give it.
These are
okay.
Well, after you Googled it, well, wow. Okay.
No, Debbie, I'm pretty sure he doesn't need to Google it. Go ahead, Reds.
All right. Then here's the thing. I will go ahead and answer this question, but after I do, I want an answer to mine. It's only fair. So what makes the object slow down while it's in space? Simple. They turn the rocket in the opposite direction and fire their rocket engines. Yeah. Okay, they fire their rocket engines.
At what point? And where's the telemetry data staying? So I want the telemetry data. Where is it?
Oh my fucking
Show me the telemetry data.
All right, I am going to, again, kick me if you have to. I will get this out without being interrupted.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
So, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, is that when you're traveling in space and you wish to slow down, you flip the craft in the other direction, and then you fire your rockets. That slows you down. All right.
Where's the data on that?
And
I want to see the data that matches what you're saying.
I was getting to that because this isn't something
you don't have.
That is, and I will finish without being interrupted. Thank you. The data for this is that it doesn't only happen in space. In fact, this also happens on Earth. Where does this happen on Earth? It happens in a place called Cape Canaveral, Florida, where the SpaceX Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy boosters actually land. They are firing their rockets in the opposite direction that they are going. As a result, they slow down so that they don't crash into the fucking ground going Mach fucking 2.
Orbital
So
mechanics
that
doesn't
means,
work that
so
way.
that
I
means,
got engineers have
so
already
that
explained it to me.
means this concept has been proven, it has worked, and it has been demonstrated. You can see this for yourself if you would get your head out of your ass and look. Now I am done. Now you can talk.
Yeah, Debbie, I don't understand your objection. Surely, if firing your engines in one direction will make you go forward, turning around and firing in the other direction will slow you down. That seems to me uncontroversial, and I brought it up to you earlier in the day. I still don't
have
know.
the rocket data to prove so. So just let it go.
Really, I mean, well, this is very basic physics. You could test this in your home. Equal and opposite reactions. A really simple concept.
Plus, if you looked at the data, you would just say, "Oh, it's all just swirls and gobbledygook."
No, not at all.
Scroll travel.
None
Give
in
it
the
to
chat room.
Help there a little bit.
Yeah. What I don't know what you're asking for. Asking for the rocket data, the telemetry.
You wouldn't understand if you saw it, Debbie. If we provided you with a telemetry, Debbie, you wouldn't understand it.
We got about 150 viewers right now.
But wouldn't matter. She just dismissed it. That's what Nicola's point was.
Yeah, going in and out.
There's about 150 people watching.
Right, but Debbie, do you understand the principle? Do you understand the principle that if you rotate the rocket round by 180 degrees and then fire your rocket, you will slow down? Do you understand that as a concept?
Say that again. Repeat.
Right. Do you understand that? Okay. Do you understand the concept that if you're traveling through space and then you flip the rocket round by 180 degrees and then fire your rocket, you will slow down? Do you understand that's a concept? But let's forget about whether there's
I can understand that, but I like to see a camera. I like to see cameras in all the rocket. I want to see the multi-stage event when they're in space. I want to see everything in every direction. And I want to see
actually
this
going to
rocket
screen
go.
share that right now.
I want to see it rotate of the moon. I want to see everything.
You want to see video of your own birth to confirm that you exist as well?
Reds, go ahead.
I'm going to screen share this right now so that you can see an actual example of this. All right, so here we go.
See all these things, a multi-stage event. What's wrong with that?
Can you please present me, JD?
You don't have the
all right, thank
data
you.
that shows what
So-
you're
But Debbie, do you understand you can't show this? If you're on the rocket, you can't actually put a camera outside of the rocket looking at this happening. Now, we've got some examples, I think, presumably what Red's going to show you happening in the Earth.
Why is that?
Right.
Actually, hold on. I want
they
to
can
actually.
travel at that speed,
Well,
speed, and not.
Please hold on,
All right.
Debbie.
Let me know when I can talk, JD.
Yeah, Rumpus, I actually disagree. I believe I saw a video of a rocket go up with a GoPro protected and attached to it to show it going all the way up into space.
Yeah,
I was thinking specifically on the way to the moon. It's very difficult to stick a camera out into
They weren't
space.
going to the moon. They weren't going to the moon, but they were going all the way into space with the GoPro on it.
Anyway,
Pretty cool.
So
Yeah.
I have this view from multiple
Yeah,
angles,
sure.
by the way. So as you
I
can
believe
see,
all that. Oh my gosh.
the rocket is actually going in the direction that the fucking ass end is at.
Blah,
Okay,
blah, blah.
so it's going ass first here.
Blah,
as
blah.
it's
You know
as
what?
it's going
Debbie,
as it's going through the atmosphere and coming back down, it's at a speed, right? That rocket is now firing in the direction that it's traveling. As a result, it is slowing down. Because it's able to slow down enough, it's able to deploy its landing legs and land on the surface of the moon, getting rid of all of its velocity so it doesn't destroy itself. There is a clear example of this actually happening, and I filmed it with my own camera.
Oh, so you're
I'm sorry.
I don't care what you think. I've learned this from an engineer. You're not an engineer,
Debbie, hold on, Debbie.
He doesn't need to be a fucking engineer. He's using his eyes just like you're using your eyes.
Can we just say that footage was amazing? I mean,
It was absolutely
planned. Is this what SpaceX is working on, trying to keep everything, easy?
Yes, what you're seeing here is the SpaceX. What you're seeing here is the SpaceX Falcon 9 first stage booster, and it's doing
Stop interrupting people.
And what
Doesn't
what
make
it's
sense why you
doing
mute me.
is it's demonstrating the concept that Debbie was talking about. It's demonstrating that if you flip your rocket backwards and then fire it, the result of which will be you slowing down.
Flip it
You will slow
backwards?
down. Yes,
I've never
it's
seen
going
an airplane
backwards.
flip
Look at it.
backwards.
Look
Well,
at
I've
it.
seen an airplane flip backwards.
Airplanes don't work like rockets. How stupid
Oh,
are you?
They don't. It's not. Orbital mechanics by any means.
No,
isn't it going
airplanes
forward?
don't use orbital mechanics. Airplanes use lift and drag.
They're not in orbit.
Look at it.
Not in orbit.
I want to. I
What you're
still want to
saying.
see.
It's
I still wanna
demonstrating
see
a
this
rocket slowing
motion
down by
that's going
using
on, and it's
rockets.
slowing down.
Look at the fucking screen.
Elementary data, everything.
I'm sorry, guys. Listen,
We're
you
gonna
lot
call
are
it
too,
here. We're gonna wrap
you lot
up.
are too polite to say this.
This is going
I'm going to say it.
it's like going
Shut the
nowhere.
fuck up, Debbie.
Okay, well, thank you, Fiona. All right, we're going to quiet
I
it
don't
here.
believe they're going in space.
It's turning dark.
There's a barrier there. There's a
All right,
barrier that prevents them, so.
My
There's a
turn.
barrier.
Hog tie's turn.
There's a barrier.
So, quiet on the set for a sec.
They know
So,
this. They
Deb-
know everybody cannot go up there just
Debbie,
to select free
Debbie.
movies. We have to take it on their word that they're not liars. And I can prove that they're liars because you can go look at Albert Pike, all of them, their testimonies, and they.
Debbie, quiet time, please. We're getting close to the end of the show.
Hog Tie wants to say something.
Well, hold on. You'll get a moment. Thank you for making all that noise, Kitty. 9-year-olds. What are you gonna do? Nicola made a good point in the side chat. He's been good and been relatively quiet. And it's hard to do. Everyone wants to jump on someone. He made the point that he has yet to hear a positive argument for the flat Earth.
I don't care.
All of your arguments have really been just responses to what other people have said, not really your own particular argument. So I want to give you a chance to present like a positive case of flat Earth. Like you have something like that.
I'm looking for a positive globe image. You have a bona fide globe image?
That would be
that is not a response.
Why is it not?
Okay, hold on. Let's explain. Hold on.
Image.
Let's explain what positive evidence
space
is.
Program.
Debbie, I'm
Guys,
trying to
you
go on
keep
your side.
accepting this. Why?
Debbie, I'm trying to help you. Debbie, that's fine. It would help if you wouldn't interrupt everyone too. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you.
Ask yourself why.
Ask yourself why you haven't shut the fuck up yet. I'm talking.
You can't comport yourself like an actual adult. Shut up.
Listen to what I'm saying, Debbie. We're looking for positive evidence for your position. We don't need to hear anything about any other position, any opposition, nothing about that. It's just for you, the evidence that you have listen to what I'm saying.
You don't have one, Globers. You don't have one.
Okay, well, we're asking if you have
watch
one.
out, JD. Your daughter is behind you with the
She's wondering.
She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. So like Dragnet was let's say Dragnet was raised in the Yukon by wolves.
He's so cute.
Let's say Dragnet was raised in the Yukon by wolves. He's never encountered a classroom. He's never seen a globe. He has no idea what the shape of the Earth is. How would you demonstrate to Dragnet what the shape of the Earth is?
You know what? I have no idea. I would just.
Thank you. That's all we need to hear. Literally it. Thank you. That's all I needed to hear.
Let's be clear.
Show the horizon.
Right, you know what? If you don't have a positive case for the shape of the Earth, then you can go fuck yourself.